O, ljudi moji! O! Hajde to! O, ljudi moji! All right, prijatelji moji, želimo svima dobro večer, dobrodošli večeras za vas. Šta da vam kažem, Monday night, tu za nas, za vas, Orkestar Srbija iz dalekog Arizone, Phoenix, Arizona, that is. Tu je ekipa Jovan and Jovan. It's going to be very confusing, so I'm going to say Kangrga and Jovan. Samo da se razumemo. Tu je Zoki, za tebe se ne sekiram. Ti izboriš makedonski, ja ne sekiram se uopšte tu. Ja ne žborim makedonski, malo te razumem. Da, ništa te ne razumem. Ok, idemo dalje. Prijatelji moji, upravo da vas pozdravim i da vas, evo, bring you into the screen. Just like that. Eno ga. Kaj si makedonac? Zoki, čujemo?
Dobro je sve. Dobro. Ja te čujem, mislim, ne znam. Da.
Čujemo se, brate, prva liga. Hvala ti što si tu. I sad, ova druga ekipa, u stvari, evo ih. Orkestar Srbija, ukupno tu. The Trinity, we call it, right? The Trinity.
That's right.
Jovan Kangrga,
Yes.
Jovan Bunjević, and Zoran Cvetovski. Dobro večer, momci, i dobrodošli.
Thank you, Spaz. Thanks for having us.
Hvala.
We really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate your time, and we'd like to go back and give people some history of what it was like on the West Coast. We talked to a lot of the local bands here back, especially from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, right? In Chicago, and what it was like in the Midwest and the Midwestern region. And now I think a lot of people, čekaj, kako je to tamo, daleko on the West Coast? And if there's any name that's non-stop that has been brought up for the last 20 years, at least that I remember, it was Orkestar Srbija. And the gentleman right here, let me do a close-up right there. The guy on your left, ladies and gentlemen, taj koji maše with his vest, vidiš, as we remember him, right? Jovan Kangrga. Dobro večer, Jovane.
Dobro večer.
To the right is Jovan Bunjević. Dobro večer, brate moj.
Hey, dobro večer.
And dobrodošao. Prvo i pred svega, dobrodošao. So, gentlemen, you are here to do a talk, to let people know how it all started. Orkestar Srbija has been now in existence for how long, Mr. Bunjević?
I think, Jovan, what, more than 30 years?
Yes.
30 years.
Plus.
30 godine plus. Bravo. We're gonna start with Jovan. You seem to be the founder or one of the founders of the Orkestar,
Yes,
who is still around. Hvala dobro Bogu.
correct.
And let's go a little bit about you. Tell me, when were you born? Where were you born?
Sure.
Where do you come from, brate? Odakle si?
Yes. So family's from Lika, my entire family. So is my wife, Denise Orlich, and her entire family. So I am a Midwest born. I was born in West Dallas or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 1966. And we lived in Milwaukee until 1976. And that's when we moved to Phoenix.
Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Correct.
How many siblings do you have?
I have an older sister.
Bravo. Are you the older?
I'm the youngest. Just
if you have an older sister, you're obviously
sorry.
the youngest,
I
right?
should have qualified.
It's
There's
on me.
only two of us.
All right. So tell me, Jovane, how do you start getting
Sure.
involved with harmonica? Was it another instrument?
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about kako je to sve počelo. Brate.
So I think as most children back then were, I won't say tortured, but were forced to play some type of instrument. The instrument of choosing was the piano. So my mother had a dream that her children learned how to play the piano and that they went to school, that they went to university, went to college and finished school. So that was her, her dream. And we both, my sister and I, lived that dream. I started playing the piano when I was 5 years old. And we both attended the Milwaukee Conservatory of Music. So we took lessons. I took piano lessons for 5 years in Milwaukee. And
At what age?
Go ahead.
At what age?
Oh, from 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Okay.
And then at 10, my parents surprised me. They came home one day with a red accordion. And they said, "Such a da sviraš." And I went, okay. Okay. Cool. It was interesting. That happened in 76. A very good family friend, Sam Rajanovic. So he played with Runjo. They played in a band when they were very young in Milwaukee. And I can't remember exactly the name of the band, but George actually showed me that my first kolo, that was Užičko kolo. It was the very first kolo he taught me. And fortunately, we ended up moving to Phoenix that same year. So that was my time of learning the accordion in Milwaukee was short-lived.
Okay.
And I also in that same time frame, my sister and I also learned to play tambura at St. Sava in Milwaukee on Oklahoma. We learned to play tambura as well. I learned to play the prim. I had a prim from my pokoni deda that I learned to play as well.
So what brings you guys to Arizona in 76?
So 76, 44 years ago, they gave my mom 6 months to live. And thank God she's still with us. So it was for her health. That's why we moved. I wasn't necessarily happy about the move. We was just starting to get older, friends and everything, everything going around the church community. Because we used to go to Chicago a lot as I had a lot of relatives, 114th. So Avenue, Ewing, Avenue L, all that, I know that whole area pretty well as a little kid.
And as we'll talk about later, you know International pretty well too. So.
Yes, that is true.
So you go to Arizona, where does the transition? How does it transition from piano to accordion?
Yeah, so that transition for the most part was somewhat easy because the left hand was a little challenging, but so there were very few, if any, musicians here in town. There was the one prominent band that was here was the Pashakovich brothers, and they originated from Chicago, so they were original Chicago band. Yep. So Bojo and his late brother Chad, they played together, and they were kind of the most prominent band here in Arizona, and kind of West Coast-ish. And so it was not easy to find someone Serbian to teach me how to play. So the next best thing was to find a really good accordion teacher, Western music. So we found out through another family friend. There was an Italian teacher, John Gaudio. God, just haven't remembered that name in a while. So he, God bless his soul, he definitely he showed me so much. I've got like a binder full of just bass scales. So learning how to play the bass side with the right side. So I learned all that. with him, and a lot of polkas, of course, waltzes, and all that kind of Western music on the accordion. And then all the Serbian music I learned off of tape, so it was all by ear. My parents would help write the words. I had a little brown book that was typed. I still have that book, the first book that I've ever had.
Sure.
And so it had all the words, and so that's how. And then I would play the record or play the tape, and just over and over again. And then that's how I would learn songs.
Tell me, how was our community? Was there a large community when you came?
No, it wasn't. I mean, there were two churches. There was Sveti Nikola.
That was already in existence, right?
Yep, they were already in existence when we got there. So Sveti Nikola only had a hall. Sveti Sava already had their church built. Yeah, Sveti Nikola didn't build their church until the 80s. That's when we were finished the church.
Well, it probably came from the income of the hall rent.
The hall, correct,
right?
correct.
Like most churches that I know of, right?
Correct. So the hall was started by a few Chetniks that had moved here for health reasons as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they started the hall, and but we went to both, right? We went anywhere where it was Serbian. So that kind of started, and then we started having Saint Sava Day programs, and so then I would play, I would start to play songs for the kids, and the kids would follow, and I would sing songs, during Saint Sava or any other program. Any Sunday, if it was Easter, it was the church Slava, Vidovdan.
Sure.
That's when we, as the folklore group, and the kids would perform, and then that's when I would play quite a bit as a kid.
Tell me, since you brought it up early, I'll bring it up early as well. That division of the split of the church in 1963, from what I'm understanding, was it not as prominent in Phoenix as it was elsewhere?
There were probably, I would say, some families that went to Sveti Nikola that didn't go to Saint Sava. There were a few, but Sveti Nikola parochia was very small, so it was very small. And Saint Sava, they had a lot of Starosedevacis, second and third generation. Sure. And if you know a little bit of any history about Arizona, there's Bisbee, Arizona. There's a church in Bisbee, Arizona, right on the border of Arizona.
How far is that from Phoenix?
It's about 2.5 hour drive
south.
So that church was started in the copper mining heyday. And so that's when there were a lot of, at one time there were 10,000 Serbs living in Bisbee during the copper mining heyday.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
News to me.
So we try to go there every now and then we were at one before this virus and stuff, we were doing a yearly trek down there to play golf, and then we would help collect funds for that church. But that was the original church, I would say, in Arizona, and then Sveti Sava, I guess, and then Sveti Nikola. But Sveti Sava had the biggest number of parishioners, and they had a bigger property, and
they're right by the airport.
Right by the airport. Great location.
Great
location, great church.
All right. So, and is that where you go?
I'm a member there. Yes, correct. I still go to Sveti Nikola now and then, but I am a member at Sveti Sava.
Gotcha. All right. So you move in, community ima, ali nema nešto preterano.
Correct.
Crkve postoje. And now how does this evolve? How does this?
So, like I said, struggling. No, I say struggling, just learning Serbian songs as I could by any tape. Getting a tape was like having gold delivered to the home, being able to get a mixed tape of any kind. So there's a gentleman out of Milwaukee, and I want to say it's Judic, and I apologize if I have it wrong, but we got a lot of mixed tapes from him, and then I would learn a lot of songs off of the tapes that he provided to us. So we would order these tapes, and he would send them to us. And so that's how our old records or any other means, back in the late 70s and early 80s, any other means that we could get music, that's how I would learn. And so again, Western music being taught, accordion, piano accordion. And then somewhere in the early 80s, a gentleman, Miroljub Vuksanovic, so he moved from Detroit. He moved to, there's a lot of Detroit transplants here in Phoenix. There's a lot of Chicago, Milwaukee, right? Ohio. But there's a good group of Detroit transplants here. And so he was one of the first ones. And he was a dugmetara accordion player.
Okay.
And for those of you that know dugmetara, and there's Mija Krnjevac. So he is the father of the dugmetara in Serbian music. So he was the first one to write books and teach. And so this Miroljub, he actually learned from Krnjevac. So he learned from the master, right? So he was a master student. And so what I was able to do, he was wonderful man, just wonderful man. I would go to his house, in the summertime, I'd come over, or even during the wintertime, my parents would take me over and they would just leave me. And then they leave for about an hour or two, and then he would play a song on the dugmetera,
Mhm.
and then I would copy it on my piano accordion, right? So he'd play a phrase, and then I would learn that phrase, and then he would play another phrase, and so that's how I would learn things. So he taught me quite a few colos and whatnot over time. And then there was, I want to say it was 1983, 84-ish. He said, "Dosta ovo sranje. I've got a friend coming from Zurich or wherever he was coming from." He goes, "He's bringing you an accordion. He's bringing you a dugmetera." And I just went, so I was like, okay.
Just to clarify, for those of you that don't know, a dugmetera are the buttons, right? The button,
Correct.
right?
Buttons on both sides. Yep.
Right. And the clavier, the other one is the piano-looking keyboard, right?
Correct.
Just to make sure that people understand
That's
what
good.
we're talking about. So there's a transition from keyboard accordion
Yes.
to a button accordion called dugmetera, right?
Correct.
All right. So continue. So
his daughter was getting married. He goes, "My daughter's getting married, and my friend is coming to the wedding, and he's bringing you an accordion. That's it." He goes, "I'm done. We're not doing this anymore." And I was like a little dumbfounded. I went, "Okay." I didn't really have a choice. I was like, "Okay, sure." And brought the accordion. I got the accordion. He taught me one little thing. But now imagine I've got 6 years at least of repertoire, songs, colos, and I can't play a damn thing. Nothing. I'm actually 1 month in, I'm crying. I kid you not. I'm actually bawling going, my parents just spent this ton of money at the time, which was quite a bit, on this accordion. I can't play the damn thing. What am I going to do? And third month, 3 months in, the third month, something happened. Triggeri, light bulb went off, and it just kind of flowed. And that was it. And I was sold from then on.
That's it.
Never went back.
Is it easier to play dugmetera?
Easier is it's less challenging for when you're like, let's say you learn something in the key of C or the key, it doesn't matter what key you learn it in.
Mm-hmm.
And someone comes and wants to sing a song and they sing it from Fis, F sharp. On a piano accordion, you're going from a nice fingering to like all this whacked fingering that you have to pull out, right? Where the dugmetera, you just kind of move your hand and it goes, right? It's pretty much the same fingering. It's just so it is definitely less challenging, but any accordion is difficult to play.
Correct, especially if you don't practice.
Correct, if you don't practice. And there was a lot of practicing going on when I was a kid. I always make the joke, 4 hours a day during the summertime. All my friends are outside in the street playing, swimming, and here's Jovan. Da, 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 da,
So was it that? Is that what we could? You practice. In
the summertime, at least 4 hours a day.
What about during the school year?
1 to 2.
Okay.
There was no time off. There was no break. No.
That's what happens when you want to learn to play, bro.
At the practice, yeah.
So, tell me about when does this get malo ozbiljnije? When does this get a little more, svire ljudima.
Sure. Whenever anybody would come over to the house, Jovane, sviraj. It was like, Jovane, sviraj. So I'd always play something.
You're the
first song I learned was a Chetnik song, so then one of my late fathers, all his friends and Chetniks came over. That's the first song I would sing those songs, and it was great. It was great. I made a ton of money as a kid, it was great. Yeah, it was great. But
so it's like invite people over, have some mezza, have some dinner, and now we have entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah, every time.
All right, so that comes out. Now what?
Yeah, and the playing just continues and continues, and there came a point where I got offered to play in a band. It was Oplenats, and I was with the late Pero Nikodievich and Ilya Nikodievich. So I played with them for several years as a band. So I was 16, I think, when I joined them, and we played quite a bit in Phoenix. We played quite a bit in California. So it was a good run. It was a good run with them.
I just want to show somebody your first picture
of
playing a live nastup.
Yes.
Može?
Yeah.
It's such an old picture that's black and white.
Yes.
It's a novella. Who is that man? You could tell, huh?
That was 1977. That's the first time I played, I think it was Tamo Daleko on stage, and I want to say it was Sveti Sava, St. Sava Day.
Wow.
Look at that face.
And it says Jovan on the, I just noticed it. It just says Jovan harmonica.
It says Jovan on the accordion. My mom did that. My mom glued that on the accordion. She got...
Just samo da znaju ko si, jel tako?
Exactly. So there's no mistake.
You look thrilled. Look at that smile. Vidite taj osmeh.
I was very serious. Very serious. I was concentrating a lot. Didn't want to make a
Were
mistake.
you nervous na prvi nastup?
I think you're always nervous, you know? I think it's less nerves. I think it's more nerves about making a mistake or doing something rather than nervous about the performance.
Okay.
I think from my perspective. So that's the very first, that's the first time I played on, and that's Sveti Nikola, you know, at the first incarnation of the hall. That was the first that was where it was a very, very small hall.
Wow. All right. So now,
and then Oplanets, I think you've got that picture too.
Right there.
So that's Oplanets. Yeah. I don't know who the gentleman that was singing at the time. I think it was a guest singer. If somebody came up from the public to sing, I just can't figure out who it was. That was Oplanets.
Okay.
Played several years with Oplanets.
All right.
And then
how old were you when you started playing in the band?
16.
16. Okay.
Yes.
And you were with the Planets for how many years?
I want to say probably 5 or 6. Good 5 or 6 years with them. And in the meantime, I think, you know, we talk about, you know, what was the turning point, right? We kind of talked about that. What's the turning point? I'm just going to jump in there, Spaz, if that's okay. So the turning point was, and you'll see the picture, I think, with me and him. I think it was my sister's wedding. That's the picture with Pokojni Krle Krstić Stanojle. Yeah. So this gentleman appeared. I'll have to tell the story. So he appeared in Phoenix in 1983. There was a family that had moved here, and they were going to open up a Serbian restaurant, and he was going to be the musician. He was going to be part of the music and handle the music. And so my sister was doing, she was translating paperwork from Serbian to English for people, and she was a notary public, notary. And so she came in, and they came to visit the house. I wasn't at the house the day they came. And my accordion in its case, you know, anyone who has a black accordion case or a Guarini or Delape case are pretty much they all look the same. He looked at the box. He goes, "Well, what's that?" My mom goes, "Oh, it's an accordion." He's like, "Neko of the Svira, somebody plays accordion in the house?" She goes, "Yeah, my son. He's in school right now, but yeah, he plays." He goes, "Well, I'm a professor of music. I was the director of the music school in Kragujevac, right?" So he tells my mom all this. So I come home, and my mom starts telling me, "Hey, the so-and-so was at the house. You know, he's a professor of music." And I, of course, roll my eyes, right? So this is in the mid 80s. You know, we always kind of joke about everybody that came between the mid 70s and mid 80s was either an engineer, was a doctor, or was something. And so, okay, this guy's a professor.
Manager.
Yeah, manager. Sorry, manager. So this guy was a professor of music. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Great. So he came to the house, and he comes and he's like, okay, he goes, izvadi harmoniku, odsviraj nešto, play something. Right, so I play something. He goes, okay. He goes, not bad, you know, not bad. He goes, do you have note music, you know, notation music, paper? I'm like, yeah, we have some. He goes, go get it and give me a pencil. I go, okay, give him a pencil. He takes the piece of paper, and he puts the pencil in his mouth, and then all of a sudden he goes, and he starts writing out a color. No accordion, no piano. He's not poking notes at anything. He's writing the key signature. He's doing everything. He just writes the whole call out. He goes, okay, play this. And I was amazed. I've never seen anyone just do that like that. Write a piece of music from memory onto a piece of paper. And so then I was like, I pretty much bowed to him and said, okay, whatever you say, I'm never going to question it again. And from then on, from that time for a good 15 plus years, he was my teacher, my mentor, my friend. You know, we traveled everywhere, and we traveled everywhere with him together. And so he and I started Orkestar Srbija.
Bravo. Okay.
Yes.
Orkestar Srbija starts in what year?
I'll say 1988-ish.
And how does it really start? Do you get a call for a wedding? Did you stop playing with Oplanets?
Yeah, you know, the Oplanets thing. So Aki got older, and so it was just a natural, and he played accordion.
Aki is?
Aki Nikodijević from previous Sloboda, from Aki Nikodijević from Escondido. He still plays. Great accordion player, wonderful friend.
Got it.
So he gets older, and it's a natural progression for him to play with his parents. And so he kind of starts playing, and then we kind of separate and begin this new band. and it started funny wise. So I was asked to play a couple gigs in LA with a group called Bracha, and that was really, it was Vinko from Vinko from Chicago. Everybody knows Vinko from Indiana.
You mean Vinko from Mlada Srbija?
Yes.
Vinko from Šumadija?
Yes.
Vinko from Kumovi?
Yes.
Vinko from, the man has been a part.
Correct. He's been a part of many a great band.
Yes, he has.
So Kumovi kind of broke up,
Okay.
and then he started a band with Voja Duvnjak.
Okay.
And a gentleman named Brian Popovac played the bass, and Doug Deutsch who played the guitar. And so Voja couldn't make a couple of gigs or something happened, and so they asked me to fly out to LA and play. We played a couple of gigs. We played a unbelievable New Year's Eve. I'll never forget. It was a New Year's Eve in LA at St. Sava. I mean, it was 2,000 people, probably over 1,500 people at this New Year's. It was rocking, right? So it was awesome. And that was like my first time to ever play at St. Sava in Los Angeles, and that was in the late 80s.
Tell me, is this the band we're talking about right here? I think I got the right picture.
Yes, so those are the two gentlemen. So Bracha kind of ended. I think Vinko moved back, I believe. I don't know the exact time frame, but that kind of ended, and we were kind of looking to do something, and I called Doug. Somehow Doug and Brian and I got into contact, and we said, hey, why don't we start a band? Like, why don't you start this Orkestar Srbija? And they were like, okay. And it was wonderful, right? We didn't have a drummer, but we had two accordion players, multiple singers. A lot of us, almost all of us, sang. Great musicians. Doug Deutsch, unbelievable guitar player, just phenomenal guitar player.
Name the gentleman to your
in the red tie.
In the red tie.
Yes. And Brian Popovac played the bass, wonderful bass player, and they both play tambura as well. So they had a tambura. They were played together in a tambura band as well in Northern California.
How did the name come up? How did you guys decide?
I just decided Orkestar Srbija. I everything I knew. I didn't know anything else. Like I mean, the only thing I could have called it stronger would have been something Chetnichko, something. But Orkestar Srbija to me pretty much said I wanted to kind of say, hey, look, we play Serbian music. All I'm going to play is Serbian music.
Mm-hmm. We
won't be playing any other music. That's what we serve, and that's kind of where it came from. And just respecting, just the history and our ethnicity and everything that I grew up to know about and to learn about.
All right, so now the band comes up. You start playing.
Yes.
Are your first gigs mostly folklore festival Zabave, or are they more private weddings?
I would tell you it was. I mean, it started first a couple weddings, right? We did a couple weddings. Actually, that was my sister's wedding in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
That picture is from. But we actually played several dances. So if you think about New Year's Eves, we're always big. So we'd always play San Francisco for Serbian New Year's all the time. We must have played that 20 plus years,
wow,
nonstop. Jackson, we played 4th of July weekend in Jackson, California for multiple years, 20 plus years. And that was with them and with others, right? But Orkestar Srbija performed, 20 plus years in a row at many of these events.
And just to confirm, Jackson, California is the location of the first Serbian Orthodox Church in the United States.
Correct, 1894.
It's a little town just southeast of Sacramento.
Correct.
About an hour.
Correct.
Yeah,
you're perfect. No, you're perfect. It's right between Stockton and Lake Tahoe, kind of ish. It's kind of it's in the gold country. So for those of you that don't know Jackson, I mean, it started because of the gold rush. So you all the Serbs.
So you start playing, and you have this first sastav. Right?
Yep.
Where does it evolve? Where does it change? When do you
sure.
become a drummer?
The first sastav. So again, we played. We had a great time. The four of us. We played a golf and tennis tournament in St. Louis. We played Brian's wedding in St. Louis. We played like I said, a lot of gigs around California and Arizona. And then it just, it gets hard. It gets hard to do. And people have changes in their lives, and so it kind of just grew to a point where we were like, well, we need a drummer. We need to find someone local in Arizona, and there was a young kid. His name Marko Čurčić, also from St. Sava, Maryville, Indiana. I think he was 13 at the time. He was playing the piano as well, and I just said, hey, I talked to Krilla. I said, okay, we're going to teach him how to play the drums. He's going to be our drummer. That's it. I go, this is what we're doing. And we went up to him. We talked to his parents. Again, he was 13. We went and talked to his parents. He said, hey, we want to teach Marco how to play the drums. We want him to be part of the band. And what do you guys think? And they were, thank God, they were both okay with it, and led to about 11 years of a great time.
I think I have a picture of him.
Yes.
Somewhere, and I think that might be it. Is that it?
That's Marco. Yes.
Yes. Tell me a little bit. Do you know where this picture was taken?
I hope someone can correct me out there. I want to say this is international. There was
Chicago, correct?
It's Chicago, right there in South Chicago, off the Skyway. I believe that's where it is. I might be wrong, but we did. We had the opportunity to travel with a folklore group from Australia for about 2 weeks throughout the U.S. and Canada.
Right.
And one stop was 114th. We played. It was a Tuesday night. The group performed. Marco and I traveled with them. We played, and then we ended up at International after the performance.
I don't know who didn't end up at International.
Yeah, after a performance or after something. Correct.
Something.
Correct.
In any part of Chicago, really.
Yeah. So Marco, we played. The first gig we had with Marco was a wedding in northern in LA. So that kind of started it all, and we just played. I mean, it was just many gigs, many St. George folk Morava folk festivals in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
We played a lot in a small church called Arcadia in Los Angeles. So a lot of I think there's I don't know if I gave you that picture or not. There's one more with him in it, and Krilla. I don't know if I sent that one to you or not. But we played a lot of they had a wonderful folklore group called Kruna, Srpska Kruna, I believe was the name.
That's not
no.
it.
That's not it. Doesn't matter.
All right.
If we find it, we find it. But again, lots of they had a great folklore group, and so we performed for a lot of their festivals. And again, like I said, lots of we played in Oakland, California, so that's kind of south of San Francisco. We played quite a bit in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot of West Coast, and we also did quite a few. I think we did 2 New Year's dances in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it was great. We had a great time.
So let me just confirm. You wanted some confirmation if that was International in South Chicago?
Yes.
And here we go. Milica Popovic Knežević says, yes, that's International.
My memory has not failed yet. Awesome. Thanks, cuz.
Don Mitrovic Veljkovic says, I believe that was International.
Awesome.
So
now, I feel so much better now.
Yeah. Neka ti lakše.
I'm sure I'll mess something else up, but that's good.
Look at that. So we got some comments. There's a pozdrav from Simo Petkovic.
Oh, kolega. I love Simo. Simo, you're the man.
Coming in is Alex Shulovic just wanting to say hi.
Oh, Alex, great guy. Thanks, Alex.
There have been comments. I can't find them right now off the top, but
okay.
Jovan Bunjevic can smile. It's okay. Wow. All right, so now you start playing your how did that Marco comes in?
Marco comes in.
Tell me about the band. So you're continuing to play. Marco's
continuing to play, and then
and how does the next?
So the next, I guess the next wave is my nephew starts as begins his journey as a musician in Orkestar Srbija.
And that your nephew is Jovan Bunjevic.
Correct.
That's right.
That's right. Jovan Bunjevic, where were you born?
I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So I'm born in the hammer.
Hey. Canadian thing, eh?
Yeah, Canada.
How long and then when did you guys and your family make your way down into
I was pretty young. I was probably about a year old, maybe less, and then we moved down to Phoenix. All
right, cool. So tell me, Jovan, how did you get into music? Did you start playing any other instrument? Were you given a crvena harmonica and forced?
No, I didn't get a crvena harmonica with my name on it. But there is a common theme here. We all started playing the piano, so I think we've established that.
I think you have to show the one picture with. Well, I want to prove him that he's wrong.
Which one with the accordion?
The one with this red accordion. Yeah. I just want to prove that he is wrong. That he was given a red accordion.
So Mr. Bunjevic, just so you know, you did have a mala crvena harmonica.
I did. I did. I forgot about that one.
That's right. It's everybody.
This is also a pretty common theme. I was always around the stage, always, even as a youngster. I mean, I think in the house we my wiak bought me a little drum set, and I would bang on that for a while, and then they started to figure out, I was probably musically talented.
You mean that one?
Yeah, and there I am.
You mean that one, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. So you were banging on drums, you were playing a chord, and then the next thing you know,
next thing I know, I was they started giving me piano lessons. So I started playing, I would say probably in between ages of like 5 and 7. And then I was playing, getting some. So here in this picture, I'm a little bit older. This was actually. So we'll kind of get back to this photo. So what ends up happening is I start little by little playing American music, playing piano, just basic music theory. And then what ends up happening is I'm taking lessons specifically from this one lady, and at the time she was teaching me notes and things like that, but I mostly learned everything by ear. So the one thing that she would do was she would record everything on our lessons on a cassette tape.
Okay.
So I would literally play this cassette tape nonstop while I practiced until I heard everything I needed to hear, and then that's how I would learn the music.
And how old were you when you started?
I think I was about, what was I, 9, 10, something around there.
Okay.
And then the legend himself, Krille, comes into the house one day,
And just
and
that guy on the accordion right there is kind of.
that's the one.
Oh,
So I called him back then Chica Krille back then in those times. So
okay.
Krille came to the house, and as he normally did, he would stand in the living room and talk to the adults, and I would be playing on the piano, and then he would yell at me from across the hall, going like, "Hey, pogrešio si tu, ponovo." So then I'm practicing this song, and I'm playing it, and then I keep messing up in this one part, and then he's over across the living room telling me, "Hey, you got to go back." And then he ends up coming over to me, and then he's pointing at the sveska, and he's like, "Ajde, počni odavde, start from here." And I don't know what note that is. He's got me figured out within 2 seconds, and he's like, "Start from here. What's this note?" I don't got a clue. So he figures that out, and really quickly he then proceeded to tell my grandmother that you need to teach him notes, and then he's going to start piano lessons with my daughter, which was Snežana Krstić.
Okay.
And she is a world-class pianist, performer. She went to music school, finished music school in a Russian music conservatory.
Okay.
And then when she moved with her family to Phoenix, Arizona, that's when I really got my sort of official classical piano training. So she taught me everything from note reading to piano performance, and really honed in my skills as a piano player, and she was great. There was always just this, lingering thing, in the mix, is that I never really wanted to play it, right? So as a little kid, I grew up watching, Jovan and Marco and Krille play in the band, and I was always around the stage. Even as a kid, Jovan would work with me a lot. I would sing on stage. I was singing on stage as early as 5 years old, I want to say. Jovan would teach me, Serbian songs, and I'd get up there in my nošnja and sing, and they all lose their minds, and it's a show. So
can you tell me who this is? Just ask. Okay. Who's that?
That is me. That is me in my nošnja singing. I think that's at Sveti Nikola in the old hall. Yeah.
So this is exactly what you're talking about. And the best part is now we have evidence to show that you're not lying. You're being.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Svaka ti čast. Wait, so this is you. How old would you say you were here? Yes, Nash.
Oh, I don't even know.
Really?
Yeah, I think I may be 7, 8 years old, probably.
And who's the guy playing the accordion?
That is Chica Krille playing.
Chica Krille. Wow. All right, so you start playing. You're always hanging around the bina, right? Like me, I understand that feeling.
Yeah, no, always. And as a little kid, I just would watch them, and I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
So in a way to kind of, create a bridge kind of between what I wanted and what Snežana wanted me to play. She would let me play Serbian music, but the way she would teach me is she would listen to a song, or or Krilla would tell her what song I'm supposed to learn how to play.
Krilla would tell everybody.
Yeah, Krilla would tell everybody what to do. So she would write it out in music, and I would actually play that song piano style in Serbian. So I remember what was the first couple songs I learned, I think were from Legende.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I learned to play that piano style, and then that was kind of the beginning.
Okay.
And then it just came a point in time, I think I was about 12, 13 years old, where I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to play Serbian music. And then I think at that time, Krilla finally said, like, okay. And that's when the summers started with Krilla in his house.
Okay.
So I would go, during the summer, like every day. So my dada Nikola, Jovan's father, would drive me to Krilla's house, and I would all day, 8 hours a day. He would, and it's exactly what Jovan said. He would sit down in front of you, and he would just go, "Okay, Kolo," and that's how it was. And at that time, the purpose, I think, for where they wanted to fit me in the band was, at the time, Jovan was playing electric basses on his harmonica.
Mm-hmm.
So Krilla's concept was at that time that we're going to teach you to play the keyboards. You're going to play the bass with your left hand, and then with your right hand, we're going to teach you fillers, and you're going to do a lot of contra. So pretty much at first, it was kind of standard orguljash playing. So that's what Krilla would teach me.
Okay.
And what can I say? Krilla's teaching style was...
Tell me about it. Tell us about it, will you? What was it like? Tell me, please.
Well, I have to preface this. With everything that we say about Chico Krilla. He was a genius, like musically.
Genius.
He was a little bit of an eccentric personality. So I don't recommend this teaching style to anyone. When I did something good, he'd jump on a table. He'd make you like the most special thing in the whole world. And then when I messed something up, he unplugged my keyboard and sent me home and told me not to come back. So, I think he knew, though, that was what I needed, and that was how he motivated me to be better. And then every time I don't know if I just like the abuse or I just come show up, at the house, and he'd be like, "Did you learn anything?" And I go, "Yeah." And he'd go, "Okay, let's see." And then we'd start all over again. So we did this for many years, and then I think I was about 15 years old, and then I played my first gig with the band, and that was San Diego Folk Fest for Morava's Folk Fest.
What year do you remember?
Oh, I want to say 2002. I want to say 2002.
All
Yes,
right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So how does that come about? How does Mr. Kangrega?
I'll tell you the truth. There was a couple things, right? We definitely needed that. I was tired of playing the basses the whole time. Electronic basses, it works, but it's not the same thing. You can't embellish. You can't really kind of, get creative with it. It's pretty, and then it's hard to do other things as well. So it was just time, and he had the music ability, and I knew he did, and it was going to take work. It was his first gig, but it definitely was far from where he needed to be, or where I wanted him to be, or where I expected him to be. So that was his first kind of, I have to say he took a lot of abuse. I give my nephew a lot of credit. So in that kind of 2000, 2002, 2003 time frame, we Marko Trucic kind of had to take care of things, and we kind of went with a different route, and we went to our second drummer.
Okay.
And that's Mihailo Dangubic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the two pictures. We always laugh. No one knows who Mihailo Dangubic is, but everyone knows who he is. So he's a wonderful drummer, wonderful person, wonderful human being, great guy, like a brother. He happened to move to Phoenix, and he had played 20 plus years with Mitra Petrovic, played many years with Istina, and then he happened to kind of fall in place here. Yeah, you can barely see him between the cymbal and the music stand.
Right. Okay.
And I think the next picture of just him and his drums, we could finally see his
This
face.
is in
but
Jackson.
No,
so
this is San Diego. This is San Diego. This is actually the first. This might be
this is it.
one of the early.
There he is.
Okay.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's Mihailo.
That's Mihailo.
So Mihailo's now he's actually listening. I think he's still listening right now, and he's in London, England right now. But he's listening to us. So shout out to Mihailo. But so Mihailo, almost 25 plus years of being a musician, being a Serbian drummer, right? So he had like an unbelievable resume from a drumming perspective, and playing with Mitra Petrovic, who's just an unbelievable accordionist, and just all around the music, the experience that he brought to us kind of took us to the next level, which was I was just much appreciated. But then, like I said, both Mihailo and I we just beat. When I say beat, like mentally beat,
I mean,
verbally, but it was more like, listen, that's not how you do this. This is how you need to do this.
Sure.
No, I mean, every drive back would, okay, you messed this up. You didn't do this right. This was wrong.
That's a
Why don't you, why,
drive? What is it?
huh?
How long is that drive?
That's a 6-hour drive. If it's LA or San Diego, God forbid it's Jackson, it's a 12-hour drive each way. So on the way back from Jackson, it was sometimes dreadful. But again, it was all meant really just to get the best out of not just him, but out of all of us, out of each of us.
Sure.
And just getting better, trying to always be better, a better musician.
So let me just go back 1 second. I want you to
Mhm.
finish. You're gonna tell me about this picture. You were gonna share a story about this, right?
Oh yeah. So this is during my time actually with Krle's daughter Snežana Krstić.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was one of my last recitals actually. I think some of the pieces I played might have been waltz, maybe C sharp minor from Chopin, and I also think I did Führer Lees
Mhm.
at this time. And this is all, we don't have a picture of it, but my brother also played piano at this recital as well, and he was the star of the show, that recital, so it definitely wasn't me. But yeah, those were some of my early first times performing, other than singing obviously on stage with Jovan and Krle. And I did suffer a lot of abuse from everybody, but I'm still here.
You
Still
are
here.
And it was an education, really. So what we did out on the road really gave me a perspective into a different life, and it was and I don't regret any of it. I had a great time. I loved every minute of it.
So Jovan now joins the band.
Yes.
He's in San Diego 2002 Folk Fest. To krene, brate, boom.
Wave 2, yeah. So lots of gigs, newer gigs in LA. We did a golf tournament in Milwaukee. We did a basketball tournament in Milwaukee. This was before, in the late 97, I think we did, or 96, 97, we did a Milwaukee basketball tournament. Sorry, that was with Marco.
Okay.
But we did a basketball tournament in Sveti Ilija. That was where was that?
That was with
You were
Mihailo.
21.
I was a little bit
You were 21.
older then. Yeah.
It was your 21st birthday.
Yeah, it was my 21st birthday. That was a good.
That was a
time.
good time.
It was a
So
good time.
we did quite a bit of touring across the U.S. and again,
I think we shared that gig with Spaz in the gym in the basketball court, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was in the hall, Sveti Ilija Hall.
Oh man, how good of a time was it? Huh? That's what I'm
That
asking.
was a good time.
Yeah.
That was a really good time.
So,
Yeah.
all right, go ahead.
So with Mihailo, so that's about 7 years with Mihailo.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a bit. Again, San Francisco, Jackson.
St. Louis. I think we did St. Louis.
Oh yeah, we did St. Louis. We did
Yeah.
St. Louis flew us out. Johnny Amish flew us out for St. Sava Day. St. Louis, and we got stuck in the airport to 12 hours because of an ice storm trying to get home. But
Yeah, they thought my keyboard was a gun.
Yeah, exactly. They thought his keyboard was a gun. It was pretty good. It was pretty
No, it was-
interesting. There's some other stories we just can't share. There's too many.
Yeah, we won't tell
we
you
won't, we
those.
won't talk about anything else. But
That happens after midnight, right?
it happened. Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly. For anyone that's left, correct.
Few drinks, and after everybody else, the people that need to go to sleep, and then
And
what happens?
Andy Bronchi was with us too,
Yes, correct.
violinist.
Correct.
That was fun.
cognac and a 7-Up. Anybody agree?
Yeah. No, he's
Coke and 7-Up.
Yeah.
With cognac.
but he's right.
That's what happens after midnight, but I think
Yeah. So great. Like I said, we had some. It was interesting. We had quite a few unbelievable gigs. We actually got to play. We got to play. So there's a wonderful woman in Los Angeles, Donna Milosevic, her maiden name. She's had us out for many events, many of her family events, son's weddings, birthday parties. Her mom, so she had her mom's 80th birthday party at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I mean, we've got to be the only Serbian band that has ever played the Beverly Hills Hotel. I might be wrong, but I don't know of any other Serbian band that's played the Beverly Hills Hotel.
No, I think we hold it. I think we got it.
I don't know.
You're not alone.
I don't know. I might be wrong, but that was a great experience. Just like I said, we've played some wonderful weddings, and just it was a great time. It was definitely a great kind of period in Orkestar Srbija's time.
So I think you're the second band that I know of, Serbian band that's played at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Oh,
let me just make sure. Here's a picture I just found. Yep.
Oh, see, I was wrong.
Lados.
I stand corrected.
Lados played.
Lados. I apologize. I didn't see that. I've never seen that picture. All right, so we're the second band.
So that's still to play at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
It's wonderful.
It's
unbelievable.
Credit due, my friend. Credit
yes.
due. So okay, so now you start playing. He joins the group. Where's the next sastav?
Yeah, I think we start. I think the key one thing was we actually started doing more. I'll call it zabavne, more rock, more with when Mihailo joined, right? So we kind of we expanded the repertoire. Where it was mostly either songs or dance, dancing songs, depending on the crowds. But we started to expand the song list that we were doing with Mihailo.
So how does Jovan Bunjevic practice? Who helps him evolve?
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. So he started playing with us, and there was a point where I knew that I couldn't teach him. I could tell him what I wanted, but I couldn't teach him.
Right.
I could only tell him. So Mihailo and I kind of had a talk and said, okay, we gotta get him to somebody that can teach him what we want him to do. Like, we got to do something. And so
sure.
Right after that kind of discussion, Sasha Djordjevic, son of Bane Djordjevic from Chicago, so two famous orguljashi pianists, they showed up, and I talked to Sasha. I go, I got to get my nephew. I got to get my nephew to you. You got to teach my nephew. And he was like, Jovana, I'd like to do that, but really, my dad is the guy. Like, my dad's the guy to do this, not me. And lo and behold, I think a few months after that, Bane shows up with Kemish and Zorica Brunslik to perform in North Phoenix. And I go up to Bane and I tell Bane, I go, listen, I talked to Sasha. I go, this is who I am. I go, my nephew. I go, I need you to teach my nephew how to play. Like, your style. You need to teach him what it means to be, orguljash, and just kind of what we need him to do. And he goes, okay, Jovana, no problem. Nema problema. That was easy. It was like the easiest thing. He goes, okay. He goes, done. Okay. And so then I think, I don't know how many times you went, at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. So Bane at that point at the concert pretty much agrees, like, okay, send him out. But he made no promises. He was like, we'll see once he gets here what I can do and if I can teach him or not. Okay. So at that point in time, everything I knew was very osnovno, whatever Krle taught me, what I was self-taught, what Jovan would show me, what even Mihailo at times would suggest to me in different music styles that I would listen to give more groove to the bass line and things like that. So once that happened and I went to Chicago, Bane sat me down, he had me play something. And then at that point, he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I know where you are. He's like, we're going to polish you up, pretty much.
Okay.
And Bane, like Krle, another musical genius, and his resume is, very impressive. So, he's on some of those original Tomas Ralkovic tracks playing the piano, like the opening riff for Umoran sam od života, that's him. You know, Shaban Bajramović's Jelem Jelem, that's Bane. You know, there's a lot of other tracks to his name that I'm probably not remembering right now, but Bane's style was a lot different. So Bane was very much more immersive. So while I would learn and practice, and took me through like Serbian style music theory and harmony, because he knew that my ear was very good. So that he said, we have to play to your skills. So if your ear is very good, I'm going to teach you, you know, foundations of music and circle of fifths and harmony, so that you can do this live on stage. So anything you hear, you're going to know exactly where you are and what to do from there. So that was his really approach. And we would practice all day during the day, and he would show me all kinds of different techniques, and I would write things down and I would record everything. And then at night, you know, we go play kafana. So that's probably the best education you can ever get, is just throwing someone into the fire. So there would be points where he would just say, you know, hey, I'm going to go have a cigarette, you know, jump on here and play. Sometimes it was good. Sometimes, you know, need some improvement. But most of the time it was very positive. I mean, I remember one time playing in a kafana and Mirko Kodic is playing harmonica and Bane bounces off and it's me following it. Mirko turned around. He was like, yeah, like, all right. You know, he just smiled at me, you know.
Nice job, kid. Right?
Yeah, like that'll do, you know. So
That'll work, right?
And that was, I spent about the first trip, I think I spent a few weeks. And then I came back later on in the summer for a few more weeks. And then the next trip, I think Bane came out to me in Phoenix. He stayed about a week. And then I think I made one more trip out to Chicago after that. And, you know, the lessons I got from Bane would obviously last me a lifetime. And I think it changed, I think, completely the dynamic for us,
For sure.
you know, after that. So
Mr.
after that, it was a lot more confidence. It was, I was actually, I think at that point, not just playing on stage, I was actually bringing something to the stage. So that was the changing point, I think.
Did you notice the improvement
Oh,
after summer one, after summer two?
just after the first visit, it was a immediate change.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like I said. I knew what I wanted.
Mhm.
I could tell him. I couldn't show him. You know, it needed someone like Bane had to show him. So it was. We're very grateful. Very grateful.
I'm going to take a moment real quick and give you guys a message here from the UK,
Okay.
shall we? Kazako. Sending my heartfelt greetings to my dear friends and former bandmates from the UK. At this age, only the two of you could get me out of bed at 2 a.m. UK time.
Love you, brother.
We love you, buddy.
Thank you for being awake. Dobro jutro, vama.
Dobro jutro.
But we're not done.
No.
We're going.
Oh, there's so much more.
We've just started.
Oh, goodness, Bože moj. So, all right. So, Jovane, you do those 2 summers, I believe you said, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Think about it. Who do you stay with when you're out here?
Oh, I stay with Bane.
The whole time, yeah?
I woke up, I would eat, sleep, drink music, go play kafana. I would meet unusual characters that would come over to the house. I mean, who are like Snežana Đurišić's husband, I think, Sasha Matic's manager at the time. I think he was doing a tour.
Oh my God.
I would meet all kinds of people. I met Mirko Kodic and his wife. I would meet all kinds of different musicians, and every night a different place. And then there was even the nights we would go play Romanian music. So he would go play in a Romanian bar too.
Okay. So
then I got exposed to a whole nother style of playing. So that was, there was a lot of fun.
Evan, you noticed the difference, I'm sure, between what was being played here and what you guys were playing down there, right? Those were 2 different worlds as far as music goes, was it not?
It was definitely different. I think the scene also had a lot to do with it. You know, a lot of music in Chicago, a lot of good musicians, a lot of places to go. So it was definitely more song oriented, at least the exposure that I had. You know, I wasn't living up there to where I experienced like the dances out there in the Midwest and that kind of, stuff. So my exposure was mostly the city, kafanas, concerts. That was what I was exposed to.
All right. So now after a few years with the legendary Vana Đorđević. Where does Orkestar Srbija go from here? Is it the same sastav? Mihailo leaves, right?
So in 2009ish, 10ish, Mihailo leaves Phoenix, moves I think back to Canada, then eventually to London, and we are now looking for a new band member.
So this guy leaves.
And we are, we tried a couple guys out, and we were able to find Nesho Bolta. So I'll show you what picture he is. He'll be on the Easter outside in a tent. Should be a tent. So Nesho's, there he is.
Yeah, that's Nesho right there.
Nesho from LA, from San Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
So Nesho played with us for about 4 or 5 years. Great guy, great drummer. We had a good time with him. And we just kind of continued where we left off, just again, got more gigs. We started playing Saint Sava in LA. At the time we were already playing this. So that's St. Stephen's. Their Easter event is just unbelievable. Lots of people, 1,500 plus people. Wow. Great time. Wow. Yeah. I mean, their Easter is really off the hook. It's really nice. It's a wonderful event. We have a great time. We have a hard time. That's a Sunday gig, and we end up driving home at the end of that gig, and that becomes a chore because we don't usually get home before 2:00 in the morning, because it's hard to shut down that place sometimes. But good times with that, and that goes for about 4 or 5 years. And Nesho has his life interference with music and whatnot, and that's kind of what happens with quite a few people, and you can see that with other bands. Things happen, and some people stay, some people go. And we were lucky to come across this gentleman that you see there on your video screen, the famous Zorancho Zoki Cvetkovski.
You mean?
And he has been playing with us since 2014.
Zoran Cvetkovski.
Correct.
Otherwise known as Legenda. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'll gonna give a little introduction in English, and then Spaz, if you want to just ask him some questions in Serbian, I think that'd be cool. But so Zoki came he actually helped us out. We were struggling. Nesho couldn't do a gig, and Zoki was like, okay, we never played together, so right. I don't know who he is. He doesn't know who we are, right? We have no clue. He shows up to do it was a Serb Fest in Los Angeles at St. Stephen's. Mm-hmm. He shows up, and I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? Does this guy know rhythm? Are we going to be yelling at this guy? Right. And we started doing, like, I don't know if it was I think it was just a simple song. We just started something simple, and it was like, I looked at him, and I go, we're done. I go, this is it. I go, we're fine. I go, there's going to be no problem, And so from then it was kind of just, he fit, kind of fit the group, fit exactly what we needed. And he's just, he's a well-known rock drummer from Skopje. So he can talk to you about it, but he's been on TV in Skopje. He's got videos out there, so he is, we're honored that he left his rock drumming and came to join us at Narodnjake. You know what I mean? So we're quite proud to have him as part of the band. And wonderful person, I just a joy to be around, and it's just great. We have fun playing music. I think that's the key at this point. In where I'm at in my career, I just want to have fun, and I'm allowed to have fun with these two guys. So take it away. Give him some praise. Talk to him. Ask him some questions.
I will. Zorane, Mr. Cvetovski, još jednom dobro veče, dobrodošli.
Dobro veče.
Hvala što čekate nas.
Nema, pratim ja, gledam, meni je interesantno, ima tu neke podatke što ja, evo, sve ove godine i nisam ni znao. Za oko nekih ljudima i to baš je dobro došlo, ovo istorijat benda i tako. Malo je, ja živim u Los Angelesu, oni su u Phoenixu i nemamo vremena da probamo zajedno, a onda i kad je svirka i to krene, na brzinu, mnogo malo vremena ima privatno nešto, jedino kad smo na putu i to. Ali eto, baš mi je bilo lekcija za band, ono, kako je nastao i to, mislim, znao sam ja neke podatke, ali ne konkretno tačno, ovako, i kao što su ispričali sa ljubavlju oko svi ovi ljudi i tako.
Reci mi nešto o tebi. Kad si došao u Americi, čime si se bavio pre kad si dolazio, reci mi, ajde, odakle si prvo? Gde si rođen?
Dobro, ovako, ja sam rođen u Makedoniji, tako da narastao sam u Skoplju, rođen sam 1971. godine, 4. jula.
There's a birthday coming up. I just want you.
Rođendan uskoro.
Independence Day.
Znači,
i 2009. znači emigrirali smo. Moja žena je dobila na američku lutriju vizu, ono, familijarno, i onda smo rešili da probamo. Sinčić je bio 4 meseca, da, i tako imali smo prijatelji u Los Angelesu, došli smo kod njih prvo i onda krenuli i tako ostali ovde. Mislim, nismo menjali sredinu nigde. Kako smo došli, evo 11 godina tu smo u Los Angelesu.
Reci mi, kad si bio, ti si svirao već, jel? Ti si već bio...
Da, ja sam krenuo da sviram, imao sam sreću školski orkestar, kao već 4. razred osnovni i tako onda već kad sam bio 5. 6. razred, ono, to si bio faca već, znaš, ono, u osnovnoj školi i to, tako. To je bilo, onda sam radio sam sa autorsku muziku sa bendovima i to, ali najvažniji period i faktički to mi je bio i posao. Ja sam svirao rock muziku, to je kavere sa bendovima, svirali smo klubski po celoj Makedoniji, išli smo i u Srbiji i to, ali to su bile obrade stvari, rock and roll stvari i tako, to je možda nekih 17 godina tako. Onda kad smo se preselili ovde, bila je neka ekipa od naših ljudi tu mešano i to isto na taj sistem, onaj cover rock and rolle, ali nije to profunkcioniralo na početku. Eto, to je onda je ispala situacija da krenem da sviram sa Srbija orkestra. Faktički ja sam i došao, mene je Neša zvao kao zamenu. U bendu bio je zauzet, da li bi ja mogao da odsviram, tako je sve to krenulo, a on mene faktički upoznao na moju svirku gde sam ja XU stvari smo svirali, tako, znaš, tako je to krenulo. To je to, oko rock and rolla i oko to sviram u bendu, zove se Sound Bank ovde u Los Angelesu, rock and roll nije puno aktivan, više radimo, spremamo, ali to je onaj deo oko rock and rolla. A narodnu muziku, generalno, ja u životu nisam svirao, znači sve što sam naučio, ja sam naučio od njih dvoje, faktički oni su moji guru i to, mislim, nije bilo meni jednostavno kao što Jovan priča kad sam došao na tu prvu svirku, ali izguralo se nekako, mislim, znaš, nije to tako jednostavno da sedneš. Znaš što, ja bi malo više ovako ispričao neke stvari oko Srbija orkestra i kako ja vidim na neki moj način, znaš, kako sve ovo vreme, sve ove godine. Ovako, jesi primetio recimo da ovi ljudi su više vremena pričali o fino, pozitivno, sa ljubavlju za sve ove ljude što su svirali sa njima i s kim su naučili, a recimo ovo intervju na neki način prilika da sami sebe predstave, promovišu i šta ja znam, znači to je veličina tih ljudi. To ću ja ti kažem, meni je čast što sviram sa tim ljudima.
Jasno.
Druga stvar, što treba da se vidi i da se kaže za ovaj orkestar,
Izvini, reci mi, koja je razlika? Je li to neobično po tebi?
Vidi, to su veliki ljudi. I sad ću ja ovako da ti ispričam neke stvari, zašto to tako funkcioniše. I Jovan i Bobo. Jovan ima veći staž, karijeru. Boba će naslediti sigurno kasnije još više. Prvo, oni su iz srca u svemu ovome što rade. Drugo, sviraju srpsku muziku, narodnu, tradicionalnu muziku sa srcem, zato što vole i veruje to. Recimo, ja neću da napadnem druge muzičare, ja ne znam kako u Čikagu i to, ali i generalno. Ja nikad nisam čuo da ima neki rumunski melos ubaceno zato što si ti dobar muzičar ili dobar harmonikaš ili klavijaturista ili šta ja znam, odsvirani neki bugarski trileri, znaš u to. Znaš ono narodno tezga, pa kao evo ja znam sve, ja mogu da sviram. Ovo je koncept, Orkestar Srbije je koncept i ja sam to tako doživio i probam da odgovorim na takav način. Ako jednostavno ti izađeš na svirku i ako imaš koncept da bi odsvirao stvari uopšte od početka do kraja, ali to da bude da se predstavi. Ne možeš sad ti da dođeš i da sviraš svašta kad je odbeležavanje recimo 800 godina Svetog Save u crkvi ili za Uskrs, to je drugi koncept, ili svirka za Novu godinu, to je sasvim treći koncept. I recimo, sva svirka ide generalno preko 50% odsviranje od srpskih tradicionalnih pesama kao kola, ali to su odsvirani na najverodostojniji i najtradicionalniji način.
Sure.
To ja garantujem, ljudi što su dolazili na svirku to znaju. Ja tvrdim za ovaj period dok ja sviram, a verujem da je bilo i ranije tako. To je jedno. Drugo, ne postoji nijedno dete iz folklora, već su mnogo dece i porasli, postali ljudi onako što su završili sa folklorom i to, da su potražili da im nije pesma odsvirana. Znači ne radi se sve o bakšižu i o da li me sad, znači postoji koncept.
Sure.
I ja mislim da mnogo ljudi to primećuju, to znaju, a onaj drugi aspekt privatno što ih ja znam, što recimo Jovan ima svoja deca koje su već godinama u folklor, da je njegova supruga isto da uči deca, znači da vodi taj folklor, isto i on. Da ne pričam za sve one organizacijske stvari što bi mogli da pomognu zajednicu i to. To je velika stvar. To je velika stvar. Bobo je isto tu, evo sad i on formio familiju i to, ali i njegova familija sa njegove strane, znači ja pričam kompletno za njih. To je što mogu ja da kažem za njih, zato što oni su malo više predstavili ljude koji su pomogli, učili i to evo sad ja da kažem za njih što je prava istina i što je u stvari, to je Srbija orkestra. I sve ove godine i sve te ljude, što je bilo ranije. Eto, to je ovako od mene.
It is amazing to see someone who comes from over there recently and be able to identify either identify you to the T as he's just did. And to me that's only normal, right? Especially sad govorio Zoki, meni je to sasvim normalno. Normalno da ću deca biti pri crkvene školske opštine. Normalno da ću mi deca igrati folklor. And I see that through Kangrga, Mr. Kangrga, and Jovan Vunjević, right? I see that is only the normal course of life for us here u Americi, u ovoj dijaspori. I sad, ali kad ti dođeš u ovaj band, something happens. You add a little bit more of a flavor, right? Is there more pop rock being played at this time? Jovane or Zorane, kad si došao ti, mislim da si ti dodao...
Razumem te. Vidi, to je stvar po meni, to je stvar kako bi bend jednostavno zvučao malo više. Iskreno da ti kažem, ja probam na svaki način to da odsviram što je moguće potradicionalnije, znači kakav je koncept pesama, ali sad tu imamo mi prostora, recimo u neke stvari koje su, evo kad je atmosfera za malo kafansko, da tu malo i odbrusimo, da se ono malo opustimo. E sad, verovatno tu dolazi malo onaj žustriji moment. Znaš ono, da se odsvira, imamo i ono ceo jedan blok i jedan onaj kako ga nazovem, XU, pop rock i tako, i vjerojatno i to možda zvuči onako počvrstvo i to, ali ipak smo dobili mi onaj svoj karakteristični zvuk, pričam za ovu postavu, ja to tako gledam, sad oni mogu da ti kažu i drugačije. Pazi, jedna stvar, nije lako da se svira u ovoj postavi, znači harmonika, klavijatura i bubnjeve. Meni je možda najlakši zadatak u svemu tome, a oni plus i pevaju. Mislim, i vode, ali ti da napraviš onaj sound, zvuk od 3 instrumenta, to je, boga mi, mnogo teško. Mislim, ko se razume, ko zna, to je mnogo teško. Da. Eto tako, mislim, to je ovako neki uspeh.
Kad si ti krenuo da lupaš?
Četvrti razred.
I know
that. Da.
Vidi se da sam rođen ovde. Kad si počeo da sviraš, inače? Od 11. Šta si rekao?
A, koje godine? Pa to je otprilike 11-12 godina, tako otprilike.
Wow.
Mislim, ja sam polomio sve lončiće moje mame, to svete, ali to se ne računa, to nije ono profesionalno za bubnjeve, nema to. To ili si rođen za to ili nisi.
Sviraš neki drugi instrument?
Ne. Da, pa vidi, za sve ovo drugo treba malo škola. Ja sam krenuo, pazi, ja nisam školovan muzičar, nisam išao u školu za bubnjeve, znači sve, ja sam samouk. Tako da ja sam to krenuo, školski orkestar, onda rock and roll bandovi, onda prvo i nemaš ti škole i to uopšte kod nas i da upišeš da bi išao na rock and roll. Mene je interesovalo rock and roll. Znači ne, one narodne ritmove i to iz sredine gde to ti se jednostavno uvuče u glavu i onda to skineš, znaš, jednostavno i ne, mislim, nije to uopšte lako kad bi se sviralo sa bendom, ali jednostavno je tebi poznato, nije ja da nisam bio pripremen totalno, znaš, ti ne možeš to, volim ja narodnu muziku, pored sve i da počnem u kafanu i da slušam i da popijem na njoj i ono da polomiš, ali nisam je svirao, znaš, meni je ovo bilo vatreno krštenje ovde, bukvalno sa njima, mislim, i sve što sam naučio sam od njih, mislim, baš bukvalno, kroz njih i njihovo strpljenje, to je to.
Ok, so, thank you, Zoki, hvala vam. Znači, tu si...
Nema na čemu, tu sam, nema problema.
Don't go anywhere, right? Okay. I hear the dishes she stopped washing the dishes, I heard that, so, sad je politično. So, sad te čujem fantastično, razumiješ?
Da.
Tell me, Mr. Kangrga.
Yes, sir.
Zoran comes in. Does your sound change a little bit?
Oh, definitely.
You
definitely
to a little bit more of a pop rock. I know you still play kolos and you play narodna. I to sve stoji.
Yeah.
What changed? Help me define.
So I think what's interesting is because, as he said, he really wasn't a narodnjak, right? He didn't learn to play narodna music as a drum. So he brought that kind of rock, but he doesn't, I'll say abuse, right? He doesn't abuse during the song, the rock beat. He comes with that velocity, right? And he comes, so I think, I mean, he knows crescendo, you know what I mean? He knows when to play soft. So, but I think just his timing and his rhythm is just impeccable. You know what I mean? So I think if anything, he's held us, back at where we needed to be sometimes. And so I think it's just the chemistry is great. And as I said, he's a great musician. And, to me at this point, I don't want to, it's hard enough work to be on stage and it's hard enough work to sing and to play. I don't want anything else, nothing else pulling us down or dragging me down or making me concentrate on something else. I can just play and I can have a good time. I really have a good time. Like we have a good time when we play. Like,
but when you say that, it makes me think, did you not have a good time before?
No, I think sometimes if through the years, when you think about it, because we're all learning, right? So I think even early in my career, I put a lot of pressure on myself as well, right? So there's a lot of pressure, and then there's a lot of you put pressure that you shouldn't, but you do because you're performing and you want to make sure you're doing well. So I think it's kind of it's just growth, right? So after almost 40 years of playing, up to I'm like I think at this point I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. This is it. this is who I am. This is what we do. You
And
know.
let's look at a little bit of that 40 years right here.
Yes.
How about that? Jovan,
Oh, that's a montage.
tell me a little bit about these pictures, brate.
Yes, yes. So as you can see, so that first picture, that is my, so, you know, the very, very first picture you showed, that was my red accordion that I brought with me from Milwaukee.
Uh-huh.
That black one at the top left, that's a Titano. So that's my first true Italian accordion that I got from my Italian teacher.
Mhm.
And those three pictures, and actually all four of those pictures, those are all taken at his house. So he kind of showed, you know, you can tell by my my height. Every year was a different picture, and then all of a sudden, I go from a piano accordion to a button accordion over the years. So I thought it was interesting to just show the different pictures, and he was a great guy. I really owed a lot to him as well. He really helped me.
You see my finger?
Yep.
See those Bela Charape?
Oh man, don't be knocking my white gym socks with the stripes.
I had the same Charape, bro.
Those were those. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't said a damn word about my mullet, about my Kentucky waterfall. I mean, come on, you know. I mean, I'm
We
shocked.
called it the Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus. Yeah, okay, Billy Ray. You know, I'm surprised, but hey, you know, that was that.
Billy Ray Cyrus, country music, that all goes. You know, that's all one, right? And you know what?
This is up front, party in the back.
We talk about this transition from pop rock, Skopje to Phoenix and Narodnjaci, and this song comes to mind. Listen to this. Tell me what you think. I think it fits the profile, doesn't it?
You can't go wrong with Chorba ever.
Can't go wrong with Chorba.
Za vašu dušu, ajde. Bunjević, a?
Bela Plata.
You know, Jovan Bunjević is one of the very few people that I was able to see after any performance, that, at least when I was in the city, and if he played anywhere, he would go out afterwards, right? So, Jovan, tell me, did you help like clean up and pick up the stuff and haul the stuff in, or?
Oh yeah, no, had to.
I gotta go.
You know, there were some when I was a teen. Jovan was kind enough. If he thought I did well, he'd be like, you know what, just help us pack up and we'll load it. You go ahead, because you know a lot of times some of my buddies would just wait for me. So they would be like, hey, come on, hurry up, so we can go. But 9 out of 10 times I stayed. You pack up, because you know it's not glamorous. Everyone thinks, oh, you guys just come, you just show up and play, get free drinks all night, whatever. It's a lot of work. We got to drive there. We don't got roadies. We're our own roadies. We got to pack. We got to set up. We got to break down, and that's probably the worst part of the night.
Setting up is okay. Breakdown is the
brutal.
worst.
And then after that, I would, you know, I was a young kid, and you know, I want to go, you know, come on, let me go party. I'm like, oh, Spaz is playing. Come on, let me go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that was that's how that was.
Correct.
But, you know,
now wait a minute. I have made it out a couple times.
Oh no,
Come on now.
Hey, you know,
even recently, but no, you know what,
we'll probably get to mentors later, but that's also on the list.
Tell me, as far as the first song you ever learned playing, Mr. Bunjević, what was that Serbian song? Did you remember?
Yeah, I think Snežana taught me a couple Legendes songs. So that was probably like what I really learned to play well first, was a couple Legendes songs. But I think one of the first songs I tried to figure out on my own and play on the piano, I think, was Crno Vino.
Wow.
I think that was one of the first ones I ever learned. And that was one I kind of put together myself. And then, you know, I was fortunate. There was a lot of, you know, YouTube was starting. Napster was around when I was a kid, you know, AIM instrument. I mean, there was a lot. We had satellite TV in the house, so I could listen to Serbian music live. So I got really exposed to some really, really good music at a young age. So I was listening to all the best stuff and all the newest stuff. And then I was listening to the old stuff. And then I had Jovan's plethora of cassette tapes. We literally have a closet in the house, shelves. It's just cassette tapes with custom wooden boxes to hold the tapes. So I would be listening nonstop.
I think there's over 300 cassettes.
It's like 300 cassettes.
Those are compilation, not just, you know, one artist.
Why don't you guys throw them into like digital file?
It's been on the to-do list for for 30 years now. It's been on the to-do list, I guess.
30
We'll get to it one of these days.
Yeah, so I got really exposed to some
Maybe
really good music,
something will help you get you some time, huh? To do that.
and I think there was also a period where then kind of the arranger era kind of stepped in. So I really think what was a game changer for me and what really I think even inspired me, and you can say what you want about him now, you know, Atsa Lucas, but when he came to Phoenix, Arizona, and I saw him get up on stage. So this is like 99. This is Best Mode Ball. It just comes out. You know, this is Summer Mix 99 for you, or you know that's getting mixed in. You know, so
Yep.
I remember when he came to Phoenix, it was packed, like shoulder to shoulder madness.
Sure.
And he is on stage, and he comes on, and you know he's like 5'4", whatever, you know, and he just starts playing everything by himself. It's on the arranger, you know, there's that rhythm backtrack, and then he's playing everything and singing all by himself. And I'm looking at him, I'm like I didn't even know it was possible.
Sure.
So it was a game changer from then on. And then I think that just, you know, it would push us all a little bit more forward. Like, okay, we got to start doing some of this stuff. And then the more the music progressed electronically and all that, the more I think with Mihailo, we really changed a lot of the repertoire. We started incorporating more Zabavna, Narodna, rock. And then because we were a three-piece, and Zoki alluded to a little bit of this when he was talking, is that you have to have a concept of what you want to sound like and what you want that arrangement to be like. And because there were only three of us and there's only so much we can do. So I think it was fun for us a lot of times listening to a song on the road and then, you know, getting to practice, and because that was the time we practiced.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So then we would get there and then we would work out the arrangement and then we would go perform it a few hours later. So it was, everything was just, we just allowed ourselves to be creative and bring the best part of our skills in playing to make that song come together. So that's at least how I remember it.
You did nail it on the head when you said a sound. These American-born or Canadian-born bands here have a sound to them. United Serbs had one, Mladost had one, Mlada Srbija had one. You guys have it, and you can identify it, right? Even Zoki can come in here and say, "Znam ja sad to." He can, if he heard the United Serbs, a tape somewhere, to su rođeni ovde. To je sigurno. I think that is really what existed. And even though it wasn't original, it was original to us here because we heard it every weekend, at every dance, at every zababa. And that's exactly what it was. We hear, you actually, musicians, not me, you created a sound that we still to this day can identify with, you know? Mr. Kangrga, what was one of the first songs you ever learned?
Spremte se, spremte, Četnici.
Why am I not surprised?
Probably the first song. That and Tamo Daleko. And I'm serious. I mean, you know, they used to ask me when I was a little kid, Jovana, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a Chetnik. I don't know anything else. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. But, you know, I wanted to say something. It's interesting. You know, I know I kind of gave a shout out, but there's you know, we talk about bands or who influenced us, right? So for me, I've had many people that have influenced me, that have helped me. You know, first, you know, Alex Knezovic from famous Kumovi. He was very gracious, very generous with his time. Showed me how to play several kolos. Harmonikaško kolo was a kolo he taught me, and taught me a couple songs. And always would let me, as a young kid, when they were playing somewhere, they would always let me. They were never they never shoved me away. They would always let me come up and play a few songs. You know, there was a summer that I played in San Diego. You know, they let me play a few songs, and then in Jackson, and I made a killing that summer. As you know, as like a 14-year-old kid, I got up and played the accordion. They followed me, which is awesome, right? And so I sang and I did, and it was awesome. I went to camp that year in Jackson. I didn't have to go to any classes. I was in the kitchen the entire 7 days playing music for the kitchen staff. I never went to a single class. It was definitely there were a lot of benefits there. I think something I wanted to share was, so when I spoke about Pokuni
Thank you, Daniela.
Thanks, Daniela. Love you. He's- There was a gentleman. So the gentleman I spoke about, Miroljub Vuksanovic. So he was the one that kind of started teaching me kolos. You know, he would play it on the button box, and I would learn it on the keyboard. Well, one of his best friends was, for those of you that know Miroljub or Kemish Aranđelović. Famous Kemish, wife is Zorica Brunslik. So he got, his real name is Miroljub, and he got that name from this Miroljub Vuksanovic. So Kemish's father and Miroljub were best friends. And so Miroljub told me, hey, Kemish's father's coming. You know, he's going to be here. And, you know, whatever lessons. So my parents dropped me off, you know, that one summer, and I learned a ton of, you know, imagine I'm learning kolos from Kemish's dad. It was like, it was a dream come true for me. So, you know, a lot of help from him. Like I said, Krle, you know, even unknown help as far as like, you know, United Serbs tapes, you know, shout out to United Serbs and to Danny Danilovic and the rest of the crew and the Vesmar and everyone else. They definitely helped us as far as learning a repertoire and learning new dances, you know, because kids from the West Coast would go to Chicago and dance and, hey, you know, you got to learn Kasavsko. Okay, we got to learn Kasavsko.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny, no worries. You're never late. So I mean, we learned all of those songs, you know, Kasavsko, Šestorka. I'm sure there's a few other ones that I can't, Ravno Oro, you know, all of that stuff. We were lucky that Danny had made tapes, and those tapes had made their way to the West Coast. So that's how we were able to expand our, I'll call it our, you know, our kolo repertoire and any other particular songs that maybe they had played, or Mlados, you know, Duško Trajković and the guys, you know, Johnny and Bobby, all great guys, Vesmars. You know, I have to, and I say these names just because they all, whether directly or indirectly, helped with expanding the musical knowledge, and it's been a great journey.
A couple of messages. Here we go. You know who this gentleman is, right? Mr.
My Minyak from Milwaukee. Love you, brother.
Kaže pozdrav. Daniela, she's been on it quite a bit. The soundtrack of her life. Love you guys.
I got to do this for Daniela. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Okay, we're done.
Inside joke.
I need to do that for Daniela, just because Daniela is the best. You were asking me what that was the first song I learned. It was a Chetnik song.
A ti, Magedonac,
Da,
koji si prvu pesmu naučio da čujemo?
Moravac, to mi je zapalo prvo. To pamtim.
That's what it was. It
To je
was
bilo
Moravac.
prvo. Da, to je krenulo.
Tell me about a favorite gig. What was one of your favorite gigs that you guys ever, a memorable one, or
Want me to go first?
Go ahead.
so memorable?
All right. So we're gonna go favor or we're gonna go hard?
Whatever. Say them both.
Which one's the better?
I don't know.
I'll let him tell the favorite, and I'll tell the hard gig.
Sure.
How about that?
Sure.
So my hardest gig, and I'll never forget this gig, is we were playing a krštenje in Phoenix, a baptism, and we played for 8 hours. So, you know,
nonstop.
Didn't like stop. We didn't go to the bathroom for 8 hours. So this was me and Johan and Mihailo at the time, and it was literally from the moment we got in till, you know, they finally were like drunk enough to where like, okay, we're done. To where, you know, Johan put the recording down, and like literally we like bolted, like, you know, like the bands on those 50 shows they would play, and then they run off the set. Like that was literally like what we did. And I just remember it being pure madness. I mean, and then the song choices. I mean, we played everything from 1970 here to modern day at the time, and they just surrounded us. And it was the hardest, most grueling playing I think that we did at that time. And it was so much fun too at the same time. So I can't say it was all that bad. And that for me, I just feel like was the toughest stint we did was that 8 hours. And I think that was only like Mihailo was like third or fourth gig with us. So it was like, you know, even Mihailo was looking at us like, you know, who else is gonna do this? Who else is gonna fucking do this?
Crazy.
Right.
So
I will. There's a couple gigs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the one I'm most proud of. And it was Bobo was too young. He wasn't part of it. And it was just Curl and I. And
Of course.
we had a stand-in drummer. And this was this was very special. This was Lepa Lukic was coming to Los Angeles to sing. And they said, hey, we want you guys, there's a Zvonko, who's he's a singer out of LA. He kind of helped put everything together. And so she had a brand new album, right? A brand new album that she had released. And so she's coming to sing in LA. And, Curly comes in, he would do this thing where he would, when he would get nervous, he would scratch his head or whatever. He's like, it's like, Jovane. And he wrote every song. I think it was 8 songs. He wrote the notes for every song. We learned every song, right? We knew every one of these new songs. And I looked at him like, isn't that a little overkill? He goes, Jovane, if we don't do this right, she is going to embarrass the hell out of us in front of all those people in LA. He goes, and we're not going to allow that to happen. I went, okay, I agree. So, we start this gig, and we start playing her songs, and she says this song, we play this song, and she says, okay, this is the next song, and we do the whole thing, and she at the end of the night, she just turned around and very special and you could tell she really meant it. She turned around and said, listen, she goes, I want you all to know, I want you all to clap for this band. This band, I'm shocked, and I'm so happy that they were able to follow me. This is the best band that I've had follow, in America, right? But she goes, this is the best music that I've had that I can remember, and they really deserve a big applause.
Wow.
And it's even more special because then I heard she performed in New York somewhere, and I think she didn't have as much. And I think what she really was saying is we respected her as a performer, and we wanted to make sure we didn't do anything that would embarrass her, that would marginalize her music, her performance. And so we really put everything into it. And I think she really respected that and saw that. And when she performed in New York, I guess the guys didn't do their due diligence and didn't do what they needed to do. And she just said, if you would have seen and heard the band that followed me in LA, you would then know what a real band sounds like. It was nice to me. The compliment was definitely it was wonderful.
Tell me,
that was probably my most proudest gig. I think I know we've had quite a few interesting gigs. We had
Donna's though.
Yeah, hold on. Were you gonna say something, Spaz?
I was just wondering, from the Estrada, the singers, was she the biggest that you guys?
Tune. So we actually good story with Tune. So I actually was I got lucky. I was able to actually play with for Tune 3 times. So the very first time was it was not a good outcome, as far as not a great event. It was Serbian Unity Congress was having they were having a gathering in Northern California. They asked if we would play, and they were like, hey, Tune is coming. He's a member of the Serbian Unity Congress, and we want you to play. And I'm like, oh my God, Tune. I'm like, I'm in heaven, right. You gotta listen, all his whole that whole split that he does, you know what I mean? So I'm dying, right? I can't wait. So we're here, we're in Northern California, we're in some hotel. We're supposed to start at 8. It's 9 o'clock. There's nothing. They're still talking. It's 10 o'clock. I don't even think people have eaten dinner yet. He's looking at me, and I'm like, and so the woman, whoever was in charge, comes up to me and said, listen, we've run long. We don't want Tuna to start singing right away. We want you to do some colos and let the people dance a little bit, and then Tuna should sing. Okay, you're in charge of this. So I go to talk to Tuna. I go, hey, they want us to play a few colos first and then to have you. He started yelling at me in the hallway of the hotel. Who do you think you are? And I went, wait. I go, please. I go, don't yell at me. I go, it's not me. I go, if you ask me, I go, I want you to start from first song. I go, until the end. I go, I don't want you to stop singing. I go, it's not me. I go, they're telling me this. He goes, oh, oni su to rekli. I go, yeah, ne, yeah. Okay, izvini. He's like, okay, nema problema. We finally get to go. I think it's 11 o'clock. We finally get to go to play. And we're about to start, and he shows up. He comes out of nowhere. He goes, daj mi mikrofon. Give me the microphone. He wouldn't let me start. He goes, give me the microphone. So he starts the microphone. I'm like, I'm loving it. He starts singing, Igor Sedelie, Oi Moravo. He does and I think he's into his second song in the split. And all of a sudden, there's somebody's yelling in the hall, stop the music. I'm thinking someone's had a heart attack. They got to call an ambulance. He's in the middle of his song. Nope. They're stopping. We forgot to ask for donations. We forgot to ask for money. And I was like, I looked at them and he looked at me and he handed me the microphone. He goes, Momsi, lako noć. And that was probably the worst feeling I've had. One of the worst feelings I have had as a band and as someone performing. And at the end of the night, I told you, Spaz, at the end of the night, nobody's left. There's nobody there to pay us, right? There's one guy. They're like, where is everybody? There's one guy there. I'm like, hey, I go, we got to drive. I got to drive back. I got a 12-hour drive back to Phoenix. Who's going to pay me? You should be honored that you were able to play this event. And I looked at him. I go, I was honored until you rudely cut off Tsuna in the middle of a song. I go, at that time, lost all my respect. I go, I just need to know who's going to pay me. And so it's unfortunate, right? So things like that happen. They don't understand. So they didn't understand who they had and what they had, in Tsuna and him and providing a performance. So that was kind of one of the saddest moments. But he played a christening with us in Escondido. We were playing for a christening and he happened to be in town. His daughter lived in Los Angeles and he happened to be in town, and somehow they got him to come, and that was probably one of the best christenings ever. I mean, he was on a table, Krilla was on a table playing. I was tied to my amp because I was playing electronic basses, so I couldn't go to the table. But it was a great time. So the most gigs with Tsune, I think we played for Rocky as well. So there's definitely a mix of somewhat estrada.
It's funny that some of these estradas that people mentioned, Tsune, Lepa Lukic, Rocky, they've played with multiple bands on the local scene.
Yes.
So they didn't bring their own community.
No. Well, it was hard to afford that too, right? I mean, that was hard for a church to be able to support that, or, if it was coming for a church organization or for anyone to foot that kind of bill, it wasn't easy.
Right. It does add up, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, as far as peak career. Izvini, Zoki.
Yeah.
S kim si ti, najveću zvezdu, s kim si ti svirao? Ili lupao?
Pa dobro, bilo je tu, znaš, ja sam svirao u onim klubovima i to, tako da dolazili su posle koncerte, znaš, razni muzičari i to, tako da bilo je tu dosta od njih, od šta ja znam, te jugoslovenske scene i iz inostranstva tada. To se kaže, tako da ekipa, pamtim da smo svirali sa bubnjarem faktički od B.B. Kinga. B.B. King je došao u klubu, to imam i neke slike od toga. Onda, interesantno je bilo, došli su da sviraju na jazz festival Temptation, ovi stari, ali mislim pola ekipa od starih sa novih i sa njima, oni su se popeli sa nama, da. To je tako, to je otprilike nešto što imam ovako u životu sa nekim zvezdama i to da
Dobro. Reci mi, Mr. Kangrga.
Yes.
What would you say is Orkestar Srbija's peak years? What was prime time?
I want to say it's been kind of there's been multiple waves of peaks, just because things have changed, So I would say the early years of Orkestar Srbija were I mean, when we were playing a lot in California, there were a lot of folklore groups or big folklore groups, and so we were doing all the folk festivals, all of those dances. People were coming to Phoenix for SNF golf tournaments. I mean, when we'd have a golf tournament in 1998, I believe. My wife would correct me if she's here, 97 or 98. We played 6 nights for golf tournament. It started the Saturday before and the Tuesday night, Saturday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. So 6 nights of music. So, at that time, there was there were a lot of dances. There were a lot of, just a dance, right? It didn't have to be anything special. So I think, and then that kind of changed. And I would say, the late 90s, early 2000s, it was just more church type gigs or some weddings or some special events. And I would say we're like on our third wave. I would say right now, we're really enjoying ourselves, and we're really having a good time playing for Surf Fest in Phoenix. It's a great event, one of the biggest surf fests on this side of Indiana. Our Surf Fest, there's a lot of people here on this page that are watching us right now. They come to the Surf Fest in Phoenix, so it's heavily attended by Midwest, and Surf Fest in LA, New Year's parties, New Year's dances at churches. So it's I would say, we're going strong in that respect, but I think overall the number of dances and the number of events have diminished.
Okay. So give me a timeline. If we had to give people years, what would that be? 89, 90, 91, second wave would be what?
Yeah, I would say 92 to 96 was pretty big, and then 2004 to 2008, and then I would just say the last couple of years have really kind of we're on an upward swing, except for this thing we're dealing with right now that's kind of put a damper on many events that we've had to unfortunately have been canceled.
You know what they say, ito će proći.
Proći, exactly.
Look
out for the first gig. That's all I know. It's gonna be insane. Whatever that first gig is, it will be nuts.
What do you
that might be my new hardest gig story, Spaz.
For some reason, I believe you. I totally get it. Tell me, as far as Dugmetera or Klavir, what do you prefer playing?
Dugmetera.
All day, huh?
I mean, I can play. It's funny at times when there isn't a Dugmetera, and we've got some really. So there's a wonderful. We've got great friends, and great. They just love having us around, and we love being around them. And so if there's a piano accordion, they throw it at me, and I'm like, oh, come on, guys. I go, I can't play this. I go, I can barely, and I can pick at it, and I can get the job done, right? So they had a folk fest in LA in February, and we were there because my kids were performing, and we were there to have fun. And they pulled out a piano accordion, and I was like, thank God there was somebody from Vegas that was singing. I was like, okay, I go, I'll figure out how to play this. You just sing. I go, I have to focus on this keyboard because it's just so hard to play.
Tell me, as far as what do you got lined? Well, what did you have lined up mostly? Mostly Zabave, or did you guys have weddings that?
Yeah, we've had, like you were asking about we've had some unbelievable weddings that we played for. So we tell a story where we played for a wedding, Mark Michael's wedding in LA, Donna Michael's son. And she made it a mission to break every glass and every plate that the caterer brought for both days. So, I mean, we had glass flying. So, you can imagine we're playing in the patio, and there's a corner, and all the glasses are being thrown into this corner. And when they shatter, there's shards going everywhere. Almost got hit. I don't know, Veta, if you're out there, but I almost got hit in the face by a glass by Vedashevich, Paris.
We're literally playing, and I look over, and he just immediately at the right time just
saw it. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and it went just right by my nose. We were playing, and so Sunday, the second day, drugi dan, we're playing, and I was in shorts. It was just kind of relaxed. They're breaking the glass, and the glass shards are now on my legs, right? They're sticking to my legs. So then there's all the older women around there. They see all the glass. They're as I'm playing, they're brushing the glass off my legs. Hysterical. It was just hilarious. And in our equipment, I have pictures where we found glass 3 years later. Yeah. There were still shards of glass in our equipment 3 years after the event. So
wow.
There's been unbelievable christenings. We played for a wedding. I told you the story. We played for a wedding in LA. Alex Krakovich. We played for his wedding. It was funny. He called, "Hey, we're getting married." I'm like, "Okay, we're getting married at St. Stephen's, and then we're gonna have the reception at my in-laws' backyard." I was like, thinking, I'm going, "Okay, Bobo." I go, "He's having us come out." I'm like, "How many people are gonna be in the backyard?" I mean, we'll come. We don't care. But I'm like, are you sure you want us? Is that, are you sure that's what you want? And then as it got closer, then we finally figured out, well, his in-laws are like, his father's a very famous, I think, I don't know if it's our nickname, the king of Mexican cheese. That might be our nickname, but his father-in-law, who's a wonderful person. And they have this estate. And so we show up to this after we play the scoop and we play after the church. We show up to this estate in Pasadena, there's people parking cars, and it's just, there's two stages. They have a stage for like a 20-some piece big band, and then they have another stage that's elevated for us three. So now, so it was like unbelievable. It was like a scene from a film.
Stone walls, moss covered.
It was just beautiful, right? I mean, the whole event was just remarkable. And so, the big band starts out, and then it's Orkestar Srbija's time, right? So
Sure.
we hit them with, I think we did Svadba just to get out of the way. Then it was like Čačak, and then it was just everything that was bum, 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 bum. I was like, I think 20 minutes, and it was over. Like, hey, the neighbors have complained, we got to shut it down. I was like, we played 20 minutes. We drove. And as the guys started packing, I was like, you know what? I can't let it end this way. It's not right. So I took my accordion, had my words, and we set up at a couple tables. And there were about 20 people that had stayed. And I started just singing Serbian songs. Everybody was singing. Alex's father-in-law, who came, he was very, he was very happy and very generous as far as thanking us for staying. And we didn't want to just take the money and run. We wanted to have a good time, and we were drinking. I told you we had
Mihailo strapped his snare drum to his
wrapped it around his neck with some belt, and he was playing with the snare. And I think we had people spill wine on our. It got kind of rowdy towards the end of the night. But that was one of those. You took a big party, and then you made it really special by making it, with the remaining attendees and
intimate,
and really intimate. It was really nice.
Tell me, did you guys? Let's start with you, Mr. Kankaraga. Did you have any mentors? Who are your mentors here?
I mean, like I said, I would tell you, it was many. Like Krle. I think Krle was probably, he was the biggest factor for me, because he came into a point where I learned how to play piano, accordion, Serbian music by myself. Then I was taught some kolos on the dugmetara. And then again, after those few kolos, everything else was again on my own. And then he came and said, hey, this is what we got to do. And I would sing songs, and he goes, do you know what you're singing? And I was like, no, I just know I'm singing the right song. I don't know what I'm singing. He goes, well, you got to know what you're singing. You got to know what the words you're singing, so you have the right emotion, and you have the right, and so that kind of got me going, and it helped me with my Serbian, right? So that kind of, like I said, it helped me with so much. So to me, biggest mentor. But like I said, other musicians, Micha Petrovic in Canada. Every time I'd show up in Canada with my accordion, if it was Serbian days in Hamilton and Bimbrook, he would never question. He'd turn the microphone to me and said, come on. And I would be, he would let me play with him on stage. So I've been very fortunate. A big shout out to everyone that helped. Like I said, Alex Knezovic, Micha, and there's quite a few others that, that across, you cross paths and you learn and you just kind of absorb. And I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful. Even, we moved to Pustinja, you know what I mean? We moved to the middle of frickin' nowhere in 1976. I mean, there was very few, very small gathering of Serbs in this town.
Right.
Where in 1995, in the mid to late 90s is when we kind of had a resurgence of immigration from Serbia. And then, of course, then all of the, think of now, all, when you come here, all the transplants that are between, that are here in Phoenix and LA-ish, I would say more here than LA, but, a good number in both cities. And so they all know kind of what we do and how we do it. And then it just kind of, we've made a big family, right? So now, I mean, you've been to our Surf Fest. I think our Surf Fest really shows kind of it has every aspect as far as every generation of, third generation Serbs that were, that grandparents were born here to ones that have just recently arrived.
Starosedievci.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
And what I do remember also was that I thought the majority of the Serbs that lived in Phoenix back in the day were in the Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa area. And
Mesa.
then I thought, okay, that area, right? That region.
Yeah.
And then the new wave brought them to North Phoenix.
North Phoenix.
I never knew that there was anybody
Yes.
in North Phoenix. Maybe a
Yeah,
small contingency.
No, North Phoenix is heavily populated, definitely.
Now,
And that's where I grew up. That's where I grew up in North Phoenix. I'm now in the East Valley, so I'm in Chandler.
of course,
But I grew up in North Phoenix.
of course you are. This is Torosedivac, you know.
I guess so.
Jovane Bunjeviću, mentors? Anybody that you can call a mentor?
Oh, well, he's sitting right next to me, so probably my number one mentor. So, he taught me, everything. I mean, really, when it came to music and how to be a professional and how to do a job and how to talk to people, and this is what we do, and this is how we should sound. And then even as a young kid, like I'm 5-6 years old, he's teaching me to sing, Baja Mali Kanicha songs on stage, and I'm up there with him. And he's not just my uncle; he's a mentor. He's my friend. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I get to play music and do something that I love, but I'm also very fortunate that I get to have this time with him. It's really special quality time, and it's you're on the road with someone that long for this many years. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations and a lot of good talks, and I tell him all the time, when you want to stop, that's when we won't play anymore together. But I don't want to play with anybody else but Jovan. So Jovan's my big number one. Just like Jovan mentioned, Kurle, he was a big influence on both of us and a big mentor. And he gave me my start into Serbian music. Really started me playing, and just like Jovan started teaching me, the nuances of Serbian music and emotion and understanding what you're playing and what you're doing. And also, eccentric as he was, he was also great. I loved him a lot. Bane Djordjevic was a big music influence on my life. He changed the game for me, so I owe him a lot. And still to this day, I still speak to him. He just played my wedding last year in September, so it's nice to see some things just come full circle. So that was really special. And I've been fortunate to have a lot of great players. I've learned a little bit from everybody. Even as a little kid, Marco was always great to me. Marco would always let me sit next to him by the drums, and there's even a picture of me like handing him a cymbal. I would always help him set up when I was around. Nash was a great friend. Nash had him and I would always talk sports and music, and that was great. Mihailo was a big mentor to me. Also, he really introduced me to listening to. He definitely widened my musical range, as not only as just a performer, but as in what I listen to, and then I also think as a person. So I'm very grateful for that. And then we got legend over here, Zoki, who is a dear friend who I speak to regularly. I love that guy very much, and he brings so much like positivity and optimism.
Definitely.
There's definitely times where Jovan and I are so okay, we got to do this, and we still, even though we have a lot of fun, we do put a little bit of pressure on ourselves. But Zoki's always there somehow to just regulate us and be like, hey, it's gonna be fine. Like, we know what to do. And we do this all the time.
Imagine the drummer being the calming force.
Yeah.
Rare.
It's ironic, isn't it? Yeah, so those are some of my big mentors. Obviously, my mother, my father. Since I was little, all they do is support me. So they buy me all my musical instruments. God knows how much money they've spent over the years, funding my habit. So big thank yous and a lot of love to them too.
Zoki, prijatelju, mentori. Ko je vama bio mentor?
Vidi, ja sam generalno samouk, znači mene nisam imao ja moment, situaciju da je meni neko učio ili pokazao ili kako treba sviram, ili da uzimam časovi i tako. Ali generalno sam probao ja to da možda je to meni pomoglo mnogo da oko sviranja, a probao sam da skidam ljude, pošto sam mene interesovalo u rane mladosti ono sve oko rock and rolla, recimo najveći uticaj što sam ja probao da skidam od bubnjare, to je bio Mel Gaynor, on je svirao u Simple Minds, Phil Collins, iako je on malo prema pop rock muzici, ali to je jedan strašan bubnjar.
Znam, da.
I to postave iz Ian Paice, od Deep Purple, AC/DC, znači to je ono što se tražilo. Onda sam malo u muzici išao u nešto drugo, malo alternativnije muzike i tako da to je tako nastalo, ali da bi se opustio i ovo, najveći mentor je konjak, šta kažu moji prijatelji. To je najveći, znamo i da popijemo, tako dok se radi, da se raspoložimo i to ne preterano.
Da.
Malo i pre.
Da, malo.
Spaz, if I can add, I just wanted to add something, right? So, I mean, I kind of hit on it a little bit, but I didn't get to really talk. So, where we live, right? We live in Phoenix. So imagine 90% of our gigs, 80% of our gigs are San Diego, LA, or Northern California. So like I said, 6-hour drives, LA, San Diego, 12 hours each way, Sacramento, Oakland, Jackson, whatnot. So in the early days of Orkestar Srbija, my dad and my mom, my dad would drive. He was the designated driver, right? So I lived it up. I could sleep, I could relax. He would drive all the way there. We would play the gig, we'd finish the gig, and we'd finish the gig at 2:00 in the morning, and he went to bed he would go to sleep around 10 o'clock while we were doing the gig, and he'd be ready at 2:30. Okay, we pack up and we drive back home for 12 hours.
Right.
And he was a champ. We lost him 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So big shout out, because like I said, we wouldn't have been able to do everything that we did without him, because he drove us everywhere. And when I say everyone would see my dad, they thought he was part of the band. I was like, no, he's part roadie, but the driver. He was the designated driver. So like when Bobo would go out, like I would go out as well, and I wouldn't have to worry about it because my dad was driving home and I could just rest and sleep.
He was a machine.
He was a machine.
He'd go the whole time.
Yeah.
So. Si na tatu.
Yeah.
Neka. Zoki, reci mi, evo kako približamo se kraju, jesi oženjen ili imaš decu? What is the story?
Da. Srećno oženjen, imam sina od 11 godina, imam još jednog sina 23 godine iz prvog braka i on je tu u Los Angelesu, mislim ne živi sa nama, ali eto tako, ima svoj život, to je to generalno. Tu smo, guramo, radimo, sviramo, zabavljamo se, popijemo.
I samo da ovo ti je, znači ovo što sviraš, to ti je posao, hobi, je li tako? To nije primary. Da, ali to sam profesionalno radio u Makedoniji, negde možda 17 godina, imao sam negde otprilike oko, prosek je bio jedan dobrih 12 godina, 5 svirki nedeljno otprilike sa bendom. Nekad imalo 8-9, svira se i na nekim terasama preko dana i uveče, mislim, baš bukvalno to je bio onaj posao, onaj profesionalni posao, od to sam živio. Razumem.
To je bilo to. Ali to su bila takva vremena u to vreme, ne verujem da sad to funkcioniše baš tako, isto. Tamo malo su se promenile stvari. Pa mislim, pa i ovde, znaš, mene interesovalo isto da čujem recimo ove starije generacije kako su živeli ovde, recimo imali su klubove, ali postojali su jako kafane, sviralo se puno, to je od priče što ja znam. Evo vidiš sad se svelo na nešto drugo kad su praznici generalno ili dešavke venčavanja, ovo svadbe i to, tako da menjaju se stvari, to je tako, kako će sve ovo da se završi, ne znam, kako ide, i dobro, to je to. Mi smo tu, spremni stalno, ko nas pozove, i tako da.
Hvala ti, Zoran Cvetkovski, je li tako, brat tvoj?
Da.
I don't know if anybody knows anything about you guys, believe it or not. Let's go with mlađi, pa ćemo onak na stariji. Jovan Bunjević, what's your story, buddy? Jesi oženjen, imaš decu?
I am married. I got married last year in September to my beautiful wife, Jelena Bunjevic. She's somewhere in the house. Oh, there she is. Yeah, that's my wife.
To ti žena, yeah.
That's my wife. Yeah.
Right. So there you go.
She's one of my biggest fans and a supporter, and love her very much.
Saint Sava, Maryville.
Yes, another Indiana girl. So we actually met in at I believe it was Sveti Sava.
Saint Sava.
Yeah, I think it was one of their folklore festivals. I just happened to be in town. I was hanging out with Andrić's, I think, out in Chicago. We were hanging out, and then Jovan and Dee were going to the folklore dance, and then I was in Indiana, and then I said, "Hey, I don't know what I'm going to do today." So I think I called up Dusan Achamovic, came pick me up, and then we went together to the hall, and I'm just hanging out with Jovan, having a good time, and then
drinking at the bar.
Jelena was working the bar, so that's obviously where I met her, and that's where I like to hang out. So we got to talking. She started serving me a couple of drinks, and then what can I say? As they say, the rest is history.
It is. Čestitam.
Thank you,
Mr. Kangrga.
Yes.
I think everybody knows, right? But
I can say it again. It's okay. I don't have a problem. Yeah, I'm very happily married. This is year 21. As I mentioned, my wife, Denise Kangrga Orlich, maiden name. We met here in Phoenix. She came to a midwinter golf tournament that we were playing. I always tell the story. She came, it was a Wednesday night we were playing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody come into the hall. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I go, I'm interested. So happened to, at the time, Marko Čurčić was our drummer, who's from Maryville, from Saint Sava, and he knew who she was. He introduced us, and we kind of talked. And I think the key was, she said she was a Ličanka, and I went, for me, and I was like, well, I'm a Ličanin. And then it was like, after that, it was just, it kept rolling in a positive way. And so that's that. 21 years. I have 2 daughters, Adriana and Daniela. Adriana is 17 and a half. Daniela just turned 16.
This is an older picture I got.
This is an older picture, correct?
Older picture, but it should work, right?
It works wonderfully, yes. And it was funny. She met me at a gig, and I told her, I go, hey, I go, this music stuff isn't stopping. Just so we're clear, I want that to be, clear, And so, Adriana was born 2 days after Serbian New Year's. It was I was in San Francisco playing for Serbian New Year's, and I'm like, well, you need to wait till I get home. You can't.
I know what you said. You said stisni se.
You got to wait. I'll be home, And so that was a close one for sure.
Couple of comments, and I know both of the wives here, at least you guys, your wives are both from
219.
From the 219.
From the region. There's Sonia making comments. People talking.
Yes, we agree, Sonia.
Talking about the weddings.
Oh, thank you.
I have one more comment that came out. Let me just find it. Well, give me 1 second here. Lazar, I love Lazar.
Oh yes.
And
there's a lot of that going on.
He says, "I'm glad those tapes were there for you guys. Thank you for the mention."
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
So, tell me, what do you guys see? Where do you see the group in the next 5 years?
Well, I'm not.
He's still got to play.
I'm not getting any younger.
Let's be clear. He's still got to play.
Okay.
I think every now and then people go, well, how long are you going to play? I go, from my perspective, I'll play as long as people ask us to play. You know, if they're asking, if they're inquiring and they're booking us, then I will play. But I'm sure there'll be some point in time, next 5 years, 5 to 10. I'm not going to put a limit on it, but I think that it'll just be natural where I'll just be too old to be on the stage, right? Where this is meant for younger people.
Yeah, you look
But
great.
it'll be a graceful exit, and I'm sure my nephew, after everything that he's learned with me and with everyone else that we were lucky to play with, I think he'll do a wonderful job taking over. I will definitely hand over the reins to him.
Well, you have done a wonderful job just taking the baton yourself, Jovan, and moving it on. It's very difficult
Thank you, buddy.
to do that anywhere in the world. Kanisi swoje zemlji, right?
Yes.
Of your ancestors. And, I said it to Danny Danilovic, to Mladost, to all of you who continue to do that. Hvala vam do neba.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Hvala.
Thank you for what you do, DJ Spaz.
I just
The Spaz, man. We love you, buddy.
play.
Hey, we love you.
Are a trade. Naučili ste nešto. You know what I'm saying? When I had the opportunity to go harmonica or DJ, I took the DJ route, and I still
It suits you.
ostalo
But it
srcu kad vidim.
Hey,
but-
Summer Mix 99 I still got
Hey,
somewhere. That's like my top 10 discography as a kid.
we never discussed how we met in Phoenix.
Oh.
And I called you a Spaz, even not knowing that was your nickname, because you were being a Spaz. You were being a Spaz.
I the first time I was in California was or in Phoenix, I'm sorry, was 94, 95 for Folk Fest,
Yes.
for the Folk Festival. And you
Yes.
guys, and I remember seeing you. And then it's simple. It's like, that's the guy who plays the accordion for that group from Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? And the vest that you have on today is what I remembered you from, right?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh no.
We can stop there.
And I got that from a very good friend from Australia when we traveled with that group for 2 weeks. It was a gift from one of the guys. So I cherish this vest.
You were, as far as I'm concerned, known for that vest. Couple more comments I want to just put on the air. Mr. Vesmar comes in saying, you see it. Sorry, I'm chiming in so late. Been listening all night while at work. Great interview, guys. Lots of 4th of Julys and Serb New Year's in San Francisco. Spent sitting at the front of the stage. Definitely a huge inspiration for me to start playing. Love you guys, Mr.
Love you too, Nick.
Oh, we love you too,
Nick's
Nick.
a great guy, and he's one of those guys that's going to carry it forward. So we're lucky. It's not going to end with us. So that's a good thing.
Eba comes in, says the music must go on more now than ever. Živeli, you're not old.
Thanks, Beba. Love you.
Thanks, Bella.
These get funnier by the minute.
That could be soon.
Somebody's uncle played into their 80s.
So that's the famous Popovic brothers that Vani is mentioning. My mother-in-law.
You know what? Honestly,
The best mother-in-law in the world.
that's very kind. Right, points. He gets points there. That Popovic brother interview was
Love you, Alexis.
that Popovic brothers documentary was
Yes.
the first time I was
That's great.
ever introduced to those Popovic brothers.
Yeah.
I was so fascinated by
So
that.
Denise's grandmother is a Popovic. Was a Popovic, yes.
Mali is svet.
I know.
Mali is svet. And just seeing the connections to the the Vesmars.
Yes.
There's a connection to the United Serbs.
So the Vesmars are it's so intertwined. The Vesmars are related to my relatives. So I met the Vesmars when they might not remember, but I met them when I was 7 or 8. And I had my uncle, late Uncle Miloš Jurkovic. They had a guitar. They were using a guitar that belonged to, I think, my cousin. And so Miloš called them and he goes, "You're going to get the guitar. They don't need it. They have whatever." He called them up. He made them bring the guitar to the house. And so the first time I'm meeting with these guys, they were older than me a little bit. I was a kid. And they're handing this guitar. They're looking at me going, "Who are you? And why are we bringing this guitar to you?" It was one of those, but I'll never forget that moment. It was one of those moments in time you don't forget.
It's just amazing how intertwined
Correct.
it is.
Oh yeah.
Correct.
Mali sweat.
And I'll tell you, Vinko
Yes.
Mancic, was a
Mm.
huge connector.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely.
Keeping that baton moving. It didn't matter if he was in Northwest Indiana. It didn't matter if he was in California.
Correct.
The man just kept playing and doing it. And that was again, people don't know that. People don't realize that. And that's
Yep.
why it's so important to have these conversations. And I want to say thank you, Prvo Zoki and both Jovans. Hvala vama for agreeing to do this with me. It took a little bit of prep work, right? Because I don't know the history of Serbia. And now
Sure.
those who at least want to be able to learn something now have that opportunity by going back and watching this interview and realizing Mali Jovan je svirao harmoniku. Mali Jovan je svirao harmoniku. Eno ga. Yeah. You know, Jovan Bunjević, who said he never had a red accordion. Oh my!
He did.
Vidiš? Multi-talented. Look at that. Ovo nema nigde. Evo što znači kada ujku uči. Huh? Evo što znači kada ujku uči. It's
Yep.
an unbelievable history that we all have here. And I'm so happy to have grown up in the generation I did, to be able to look back and be
I agree.
appreciative of everybody that came before me. You know, I know music has changed, you know, and
Things change, but things change, but then they stay the same as well, you know? So it's just, they alter a bit, right? So we just need to continue working it, making sure that we don't, you know, become irrelevant. I think that's the key, right? We need to make sure that it continues, you know, that the folklore groups continue. I think that's key. If you ask me, you know, how does this continue? It's folk festivals, it's folklore groups, it's traveling, it's, you know, taking your kids to a Serbian event in some other city. You know, I took my kids to Dražindan and Winona last summer, and they met friends and they knew people, and you know, I saw a whole bunch of old friends. So I think you have to do that if you want to keep your kids and you want to keep your family involved. Because that's like my father, you know, before the music, even before I was dancing or playing on stage, my dad took us to every Serbian event, wherever there was a Serbian event. It didn't matter. We drove when Gračanica was consecrated. We drove to Chicago from Phoenix. When the big celebration of Kosovo in '89, we drove, right? So, I mean, any big event, we were in Maryville when they consecrated the new church, the Saint Saba. We flew from Phoenix. We went for that. So, I mean, there were things that, you know, my parents thought were important and that I think are important. And then I will continue to take my children to any Serbian event we can make it to.
And it's because of people like you that I am really not worried for our naslednici here in this country and in Canada, by the way, because of those goals that you have just announced. Because I think I follow you on par. We are on par. Not isto, bukvalno isto. Kids are part of everything at the church.
Correct.
Part of every program. We're moving it forward, and again, it's thanks. Orkestar Srbija. Hvala vam.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
And
thanks to everyone who listened. I don't know if anyone stayed for the whole 2.5 hours, but thank you so much. We love you all. Thanks for all the years of support. You know, we're going to continue as long, like I said, as long as people keep asking, we're going to continue.
To quote a little quick quote for my buddy Mihailo out there in the UK.
If he's still awake.
Orkestar Srbija, if you're still awake, Orkestar Srbija is here to stay.
It's a little inside joke.
Yeah.
But we love you all. Thank you so
love
much,
you guys.
Spaz. Thank you so much, Zoki. Hvala ti.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I want to
Wish you all the best, everyone. Let's hang tough and get through this, and we're gonna party big.
just a few comments on there. Some of your colleagues have joined you.
Exactly, Alex. Love you, buddy.
Alex Trulovic of Orkestar Soko and Šumadija, the current Šumadija.
Great accordion player.
Will be joining us next week with some insight for Soko, Orkestar Soko. Simo Petkovic is still here, and it's late on the East Coast.
Thanks,
Right.
Simo.
Love you, Simo.
Tiana Pavlovic comes on.
We love you, Tiana.
We love you, Tiana.
Maria Popovac says hi.
Oh,
thank
thanks,
you.
Maria.
And we have Asanjo Grizic saying hvala.
Oh, Sonya's the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia, for everything.
Vasic here. Pozdrav from-
Hey. Pozdrav.
Nothing like a wife saying nema krsta bez tri prsta.
Nema krsta bez tri
Oh, the
prsta for
famous
Sasha.
hashtag.
Where's Sasha at?
Where is
You
he?
out there, Milojkovic?
Olga saying
There's Olga.
There's Olga.
wouldn't have missed it. And
She's our photographer. She takes all our pictures for us. You ever need a picture of us, go to Olga.
And if you ever need anyone to stand on a table with an accordion and to have fun, just hire myself and Olga. We'll show up. No issues.
Danny Danilovich, great interview. Great job, boys.
Thanks, Danny.
Matija Mikun.
Oh, Maddie.
Oh, my man, Matt.
Pozdrav.
Look at that. I'm here.
Hey,
There he is. Nema Krsta's right here.
And you got this one is going to bring a smile to your face, and we'll end it with this one right here.
Oh,
One is
Love you, brother.
I knew you'd like that.
Actually, I didn't. Mr. Chamović wants to see you soon. There you go.
See you soon,
Hey,
brother.
Dule.
All right, prijatelji moji, to je to što se tiče nas za večeras. Zorane, Jovan, hvala vam. Živi bili, veseli, naravno, i vidimo
Hvala i tebi.
se čim ovo prođe.
Laku noć. Sve najbolje.
Hvala.
Hvala.
Thank
Hvala,
you.
brother.
I'm going to
Čujemo
leave.
se.
Hvala.
Let me do a shared screen here so we can get one quick thing on here. Da vidimo. This is Malanović, but we'll make it happen.
He's always got surprises.
I know.
Šta da vam kažem?
Oh, there it
Oh,
Idemo!
is. I told you, if you ever need anyone to get on a table, Olga and I are for rent or for hire.
Laku noć, doviđenja, and good night. Uživajte!
Laku noć.
Ja, živi bili!